Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Thursday night live stream, which I know that with RetroBlasting, we land these whenever the guests have an opening. It's not so much a scheduled thing like other streams, but I had the good fortune to connect with the gentleman seated to my right, if you're facing us, which you are because you're watching this channel. This is a guy who I have been following for quite a while, and I'm gonna devote most of this 90 minutes to him being able to answer some interview questions and, of course, your questions. But this is the man that's been making the rounds on toy collecting YouTube lately, Articulated Ninja. Welcome to RetroBlasting. Thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I followed you. It's had to be 2 years ago, at least, something like that.
Yeah.
And I've been watching your stuff for quite a while. Always really loved your independent, like straight up real takes on the latest action figures. But on top of that, and this is what I want to get into here in a second, I'm going to pepper you with questions, so just be ready. I wanted to really talk about I don't want you to give up any of your trade secrets for your channel, but I am curious about your filmmaking style in a broad sense, like, because I watched your latest video about the Black Panther armor.
Yeah.
And I was once again, like, of every video you do, I watch them and I go, God, that had to have taken a long time to film. That had to have been a week. Like that had, and your lighting is really good, and your compositions are amazing. And I know you do a lot of photography and customization, but the filmmaking part of it with your post-production and stuff, and I'm just like, geez, this
takes so long.
Beast.
Yeah. So, you would know too how long it takes.
I do. You're inspiring me to kind of reach for higher rungs.
Thank you.
So yeah, we have a super chat here real quick before we get started from a mutual friend, Analog Toys.
Hey.
Says nothing but love and respect for both of you. Thank you for being here, Tony. So first question. Let's take the Wayback Machine to when a ninja was playing with action figures. Like, what were the toy lines that you really got into when you were a kid? Like the first ones to really inspire your imagination?
All right. So since I'm a 90s baby, I think the first ones, I don't know, I'm sure you remember, you know of it, but do you remember those Power Rangers that had the flip action, the heads?
Yes.
It was like the helmets would flip. And I think that was my first like entire collection, those Power Ranger flip head figures. I had a lot of Gargoyle action figures. I had a lot of Batman action figures, but I'm gonna say it would probably have to be the Power Rangers, because going to the public school that I went to, it was like a ritual for all the kids to get off of the bus, and we're in the middle of the city, so we watched a lot of kids got off the bus and everybody just screamed, "It's morphin' time," and we all started fighting. Like it was every day, every single day. As soon as you get off of the bus, it was this morphin' time. And we were really punching and kicking and going hard on each other. But I would say it was probably the Power Ranger figures, man. Those were big.
Yeah, I had to collect a bunch of them up for a video that people are still waiting on me to do. And when I found out that there were actually head changes when they changed the cast,
yeah,
I was like, oh, I gotta go find those variants too. So I went out to find those. So yeah, those were really, really cool figures. I was a teenager when those came out, so I didn't buy them at the time, but now as a collector. Okay, so you're enjoying Power Rangers. You're starting to collect toys. Those are the first toys you really remember captivating you. Now we get into the teenage years and stuff. Did you do the thing where you kind of still like the stuff from afar, but otherwise kind of keep a distance from it for your own social survival?
Right. So that's kind of tricky, because I brought it up on the 3POA, but I was lucky enough to be raised. I was mainly raised by my grandfather and my uncle, but they always really kind of had this independent attitude with me, as far as like, just be who you want to be, and it doesn't matter who follows you and who doesn't. Right. So don't try to be one of the cool kids. At the same time, you don't have to be socially awkward. So I always just tried to play the middle for the most part. But I never really cared socially if I was going to be accepted, because I collected action figures. And then I brought it up on the 3POA with the show The Room Raiders. I don't know if you ever remember that show. Right. So a lot of my friends were watching shows like that, or they was focused on going to prom or getting a girlfriend or having that date or having the newest sneakers. I really didn't care about none of that. I never really stopped collecting from as far back as I can remember, let's say 5 years old, getting a few action figures, lucky enough to get a few action figures for Christmas. I never, like, everybody has these moments where they're like, oh, I put all my toys in a box like Andy and I went away to school, or I threw them away. And I never had one of those moments. It was kind of like, they're there. I'll add to them when I want to add to them. But no matter who knows me or who's going to come into my life, I'm not going to get rid of them because they're just something that I enjoyed. It didn't even so much matter if other people understood or not. It was just something that I enjoyed. So,
wow. That sounds similar to the way that it happened for me, which was, you know, I never really stopped collecting them. I started buying them off my friends. The play element stopped, but the display and even photography back before digital cameras and stuff, I've got a whole stack of 4x7s or whatever they are. Yeah. So let me see if I can pinpoint a few things. Did you collect Toy Biz Marvel?
Yes.
Okay. Did you collect 90s G.I. Joe that was at Toys R Us?
No.
Okay.
Okay, wait. So when you say 90s G.I. Joe, the first G.I. Joe figures that I started to buy, they were kind of the larger scale ones. They were the Sigma 6 figures. And I know it's such a cheesy cartoon. A lot of people don't like Sigma 6, right? But I liked them, and they were like my introduction to the line. And I always said, from those Sigma 6 figures, which I think they were like, what, 10-inch figures or something crazy? I said, man, if they ever make these in 6-inch scale, if they ever go 1/12 scaler, I'm all over it. Like, that is going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
And I just feel fortunate enough that they did, because there's so many other guys, my older men in my family, just older. I was always told I had like an old soul. So I have older men tell me all the time, dude, you're lucky. I had to wait my whole life to get these figures, you know, and it's just happening for you. I had to wait my whole life to go to the movies to see the Avengers live action on screen. And it's just happening now. So I'm just always super appreciative that I'm alive right now while a lot of this stuff is happening.
Right. Yeah. I was really curious about especially the G.I. Joe thing, because like you can draw a line from the 90s animated X-Men and Spider-Man cartoons and the Toy Biz line to the obsession with Marvel Legends today for a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of the people your age, I'm always curious how they got into G.I. Joe. So for you, it was Sigma 6.
It was Sigma 6.
Through.
And then I think after Sigma 6, was it like a cartoon called Retaliation or something like that? It was like, I think, I'm not sure, but it was a weird, it was like, the animation
Renegade?
wasn't that bad. Yeah, Renegades. I think it was Renegades or Retaliation or something. Yeah, it was Renegades. But after Sigma 6, and that's all I really knew, because I didn't grow up on the 80s G.I. Joe.
Right.
So, but it still nonetheless didn't stop me from appreciating the brand.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Like, it's like I didn't grow up with the 12-inch G.I. Joe, but I love seeing the complete 12-inch G.I. Joes when I find them, you know, like the way they were decked out and everything. Robert's Infinite Realm says, Ninja in the house. My little girl was going to bed and got excited when she saw your avatar on the screen. And,
Thank you.
Hedwig says, so happy to finally see Retro and Ninja together. Let's see. Embargo says, just don't mind me, just dropping in, showing some love. Drew G says, I will catch the replay. Love both you guys. Peace. Jason Anderson says, I am insanely jealous of people who are able to keep their childhood toys. And let's see, we have 2 more super chats right here. Spaceman Spiral says, I love toys and the content made by RetroBlasting and Articulated Ninja. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then 2 Cents Toys himself, Salvador, says, working tonight, but I'll keep a headphone as long as I can. Just wanted to show some support. Later tonight, I return to the city below the city. A hint for the next archaeology stream. Looking forward to it, Sal. Can't wait.
Cool.
All right. So you are in your teenage years, you're collecting, you're still enjoying this stuff. When did you, I know for all of us who have that story, we are collecting, but we're still sort of just out of childhood. We're teenagers on a limited income, whatever. And then we start to realize that we're trying to figure out ways to buy this stuff despite our limited income, which made me realize I was a collector now. Like this was going to be a thing. Do you remember what line or a moment when that bug kind of like, or that light bulb kind of came on for you that this was going to be a lifelong hobby, or was that back when?
I think there was two moments that I can remember in my mind, honestly. The first one, I'm not sure if the company was Jack specific, but they had the Dragon Ball Z IP,
Mm-hmm.
and they were making a lot of Dragon Ball Z toys. And they
Mm-hmm.
made like the hyperbolic time chamber, they made the arena, they made so many Dragon Ball Z toys. But it was a Christmas that my mom busted her ass, worked overtime to try and get me as many as she possibly could. And when I was able to take a step back and look at all of those Dragon Ball Z figure like
Mm-hmm.
collection as a whole, I was like, yeah, this is something. Collecting in my mind really became a thing once I seen all of them together. Because
Yeah.
prior to that, it was maybe building the Power Rangers team or something like that. But like you said, I was more of a kid then, so I'm playing and crashing my figures into each other. But seeing those figures that I knew she worked so hard to get,
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh my God, I have to take care of these.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I have to put these up on a shelf. That was like where I drew a line, and I was like, well, I need to start being more aware because I always kind of took care of my stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
was not the kid, and I wasn't the Andy. I know you
Right.
guys see me drop my figures onto the floor now, but I was never that kid in the yard just chucking their figures
Right.
across the yard.
Right.
So, but that was a clear line. Those Dragon Ball Z figures were a clear line of like, man, I'm officially a collector. And then the second time was when Mattel started that whole DC Universe franchise.
Yes.
That was big.
How deep did you go into DC Universe?
I could say that probably I'm only missing maybe 4 builder figures. So almost
Wow.
every single figure, I'm only missing a 4. Like it's crazy. And looking back at it, even then, I felt like it was inevitable for me to complain about some companies and their business
Mm-hmm.
practices because I absolutely hated that every figure was on the same exact mold.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Like
Yep. Yeah. Batman and Superman shouldn't really be the exact same size. Like,
everything, same shoulders, same arms, same everything.
yeah. But I mean, do you still have that collection?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Like and literally right off to the screen,
Mm-hmm.
um, I had the build a figure Giganta. She was like a grail for me at the time and years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, the DCU collection was ridiculous. That
Well,
was
it's the
crazy.
most comprehensive collection they've ever done of their universe,
Yeah,
as far as
yeah.
I know.
Do you think
Uh,
McFarlane is gonna go past that or no?
I mean, if he can keep his prices as competitive as they've been, regardless
Mhm.
of what I feel is a certain amount of underwhelming sculpting. No
Yeah.
offense to Todd McFarlane, he's usually very cool about that. But yeah, I feel like there's a good shot if he can keep his prices competitive, like with Marvel Legends and stuff,
Mhm.
and especially given that he's going deep. I remember I looked up the other day because they said they were doing the Jim Balent Catwoman in the
Okay.
McFarlane line, and I was like, "Whoo!" And then I thought, okay, that might be the first one I buy. Um, that that is one of the things that I find really interesting about your journey is that you, from what I can gather from all the videos I've watched of yours over the last year and a half, 2 years, and also the knowledge now that you're giving me of how deep you go in with these lines, like you are you always a completist with your
No.
collection? Okay.
No, absolutely not. And
Mhm.
and I don't have no shade to those guys, but I find it really hard, especially now. I was younger when I did the whole DC Universe thing, and
Mhm.
also I worked at a comic book shop, so I was able to
Mhm.
get discounted prices on almost
Oh.
everything. I worked at a comic book shop for years,
Mhm.
so and I never read comics like that. I mentioned in the 3POA,
Mhm.
Pandora's issue 7 was the first one that I actually bought to read because I wanted to know
Yeah.
more about her.
Right.
But I never read comics, worked at a shop, and it wasn't so much that I was a completist because I think if I had to pay full price for them, maybe I wouldn't have did it because even at the time I had my issues with
Mhm.
all of their figures sharing the same mold. But it
Right.
was like the builder figures that so when you brought up Toy Biz earlier, when they came along and their molds were kind of different on each figure.
Yeah.
Their accessories were kind of different on each figure. It was
Mhm.
like I am a DC guy at heart.
Mhm.
I like the Justice League. I like DC at heart. But when Toy Biz showed up and they started doing what they were doing with the Marvel Legends and the
Yeah.
Builder figures and that first initial wave, and I was like, this is going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
Like
I see.
100%.
I still think their original Iceman that comes on the hand with the.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. That
He
piece
looks so
alone.
good. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he looks so
Yeah.
good. And I know his ball joints and stuff are a little dated, but when you put him on that thing and you
Yep.
got him on display, I mean, you can't really dog it too much. I mean,
Yep.
yeah. Anthony Whitehead, thank you so much. He says, just saying, hey, Michael's always great. Oh, thank you. And Ninja is doing great stuff. Yes, he is. KBA says, moms deserve a lot of credit for helping us build a childhood toy collection.
100%. 100%. Yes.
Hayden says, I was a born toy collector. It's practically in my blood. And Spaceman Spiral says, still can't get past the McFarlane scale. Yeah, it is a little weird at what do they call that? 7-inch, I guess.
Yeah.
And we have a super chat here. Skyfall says, appreciate your content, guys. Thanks.
Thank
I'm
you.
so glad you brought up Dragon Ball Z because I've been wanting to ask you, I've been dying to ask you. A lot of your videos are based on what's out there right now. And while you do a wide variety of things, the toy collector community lately has kind of been drinking from the fire hose of superheroes and military figures, right? So we're kind of, so for you, I did get the sense that, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that you are interested in, on a certain level, in anime and video gaming, like fighting game characters and stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
100%. Yeah.
Okay. Where did that, did that start with Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that when you were a kid?
Yeah, so when I was a kid, Cartoon Network had a show called, I don't even know if it was really a show, but it was called Toonami. And they would throw on a bunch of different types of animes, a bunch. So I was watching a lot of Toonami. So I always liked anime. I always wanted anime figures. I don't know, right here is like an entire Naruto shelf. But and then Dragon Ball Z is right below them. You can see right there. So I always loved anime figures, but it may have started, I would say maybe it started with Dragon Ball Z, and then a lot of one that I would consider it an anime. I don't know if a lot of other people would, but I really liked Rurouni Kenshin, story about a samurai. Yeah, so I really like that. I feel like America's version of Rurouni Kenshin, another good show, was Samurai Jack.
Oh yeah, Samurai
I
Jack
like
is
Samurai
really
Jack too. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. I'm so glad to hear you mention Naruto. I have this run-on joke. So there I was way back in the day, sitting in a movie theater for, I don't even remember what the movie was about to come on. And they did this preview for like you know how they do like the Fathom events previews before they do the real previews.
Right.
So they did this preview and it was a Naruto preview. And I knew what Naruto was, but I didn't follow it because I was already in college or whatever. And they got through the trailer and it got to the end and the title was like, coming in August, whatever, Naruto ninja fight in a land of snow. And I was like, that's the most badass movie title I've ever heard. Like, and to this day, like I hold on to that. I'm like, that's the greatest movie title ever. Never did see the film, but the title was great.
Yeah.
So you've got an anime interest. You've got a video game, fighting game interest. Those action figures tend to be anime, not so much. Anime is pretty strongly represented in action figures just through Bandai and Storm Collectibles and other brands. The action figures for video games can be hit and miss by and large.
Yes.
Like, what are the biggest challenges you faced as far as like your biggest video game character interests in terms of trying to get action figures for them?
I think you just said like it's just so hit and miss that it's hard, especially like, I mean, so SH Figure Arts got the Street Fighter license for a while, and I guess it kind of died on them. They just kind of gave up on it. Before them, I almost was, because you brought up a completist, I was almost a completist with the Soda Toys, their Street Fighter line. Oh my God. At the time, those things were like so ahead of their time. Extra hands, extra heads. And I'm not sure if it was NECA. I seen Matthew in the chat. He brought up Afro Samurai. I loved Afro Samurai too, but I'm not sure if that was NECA or not. But it's just hard to find anime figures by, I don't know, like a part of me wishes a company like, well, I guess McFarlane does have some anime titles, but he's doing everything in 17-inch scale. But I wish that, like, let's say we could get a domestic company, let's say Valorverse, Hasbro, NECA, a domestic company that really puts out a long line of whether it's Street Fighter or Tekken or something. Because right now the main thing we have is like Storm collectibles.
Yeah.
Now I made a video like I don't like that they don't give a lot of females love, especially in their Mortal Kombat line. I still think they haven't released one female, maybe one, but they don't do a lot of females in the Mortal Kombat line. But it's just so hard to get good anime figures. So I'm happy you brought that up. I don't know why, but Storm Collectibles is doing it, I guess, in the most comparable way to Soda Toys, as far as they've put out a lot so far. Even if, let's say 60% of them are ninjas, they still put out a lot. They haven't given up on the line yet. So I'm appreciative for that. I just wish they do some females, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like I saw their, of all things, I saw their Golden Axe female, and I was like, wow, that looks really good. But to hear you say that they're not really supporting the females in other franchises, that is surprising to me. Yeah. I did want to ask also along this line, clearly you like ninjas like I do. It's in your name. Did your name also derive from the Articulated Ninja figure line as well that came out, the 6-inch figures? Did you collect any of those, or was it a coincidence? Like,
so are you talking about, like, let's say the articulated icons?
Articulated icons.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So no, it was more so about Naruto, because I liked Naruto for a long time, was like my #1 anime.
Right.
And at times a bunch of filler episodes, it's ridiculous. You got a kid running around in bright orange. Like, that is the furthest thing from a ninja I've ever seen. But I liked a lot of the characters in the show.
Sure.
So it was mainly derived from just Naruto, and I just love the idea of ninjas. And then I don't know if you're familiar with this movie. There was a domestic release called Ninja Assassin, and it was like under the radar.
I saw it in the theater.
Yo, I went to the theater to see that too. That was hands down. Of course, it had its cheesy moments like everything else, but that was one of the best interpretations of a modern day ninja clan that I have ever. It brought me back to like the 90s turtle movies in the dark, gritty subway and the Ninja Assassin movie. I'm telling you guys in the chat, if you have not checked it out, check out the Ninja Assassin movie. It was so good.
That starred the Korean actor Rain, didn't it?
Right. Wasn't he like a part of a band or something like that?
He was,
I'm sure they hired him because he was like a pretty boy, but he did such a good job. Such a good job.
Yeah, the movie makes history for making a K-pop guy into a ninja, but it worked.
It worked.
It works.
100% worked. But yeah, the ninja thing just came from me loving ninjas so much my whole life.
I went to see it because they said Sho Kosugi was back this time as the villain. And I was like, oh, Sho Kosugi, the man from my childhood in the 80s ninja movies, you know?
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. Let's see. Hayden says, I hear McFarlane's going to make a classic Barry Allen Flash. I'm tempted on that front. Just Plain Ken says, still waiting for a good Tomb Raider toy line from the original games. Yeah.
Oh, man, that would be nice.
Wouldn't that be great?
Nice. Yeah.
I'm holding my breath. I don't know why. Carlos says, Ninja, loved your video on building your RC Ghost Rider custom vehicle. Yeah, dude, that was slick. That was slick.
It took so much time, and I was rushing to try to get it out while everything was happening.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I just wanted to try to find alternative solutions, not just for myself, but for other people as well. That was a rough one.
Dude, I don't even know how, with your level of production value, that you managed that, given you were also customizing an entire vehicle.
Yeah, I don't sleep.
Okay. All right.
That's what it is. I don't, like, there's literally times where my girlfriend has to come down. Like, she has to get me from the editing room. She has to, like, she'll text me or she'll call me and she'll be like, I think enough's enough. Like, I think you just call it a night. It's not that serious. Like, yeah, I don't sleep.
You've got like After Effects up, and you've got Premiere up, and you've got Photoshop up, and you've got Illustrator up, and you're like, oh my god,
everything.
You look like one of those 1930s newspaper editors with all the telephones.
Yeah,
hey, call the desk. Yeah. Lio Convoy says, thank you for the super chat. He says, I've been trying to get Michael to watch anime like Gao Gaigar and the Rurouni Kenshin Trust, I'm butchering that pronunciation, and Betrayal OVAs. I will watch them, Lio. I promise. I will. I'm not opposed. Okay, so we're kind of entrenched in a good way in the anime thing right now. Scott Hughes says there's a sequel to Ninja Assassin. All right, I'm going to Amazon after this is over.
Oh yeah, what is that?
Yeah, right. But it was a nice segue from that one comment we just read about the Ghost Rider car. I've been wanting to desperately talk to you about, without giving away trade secrets, because everybody's got their little trade secrets in their YouTube channels, and I respect that, especially people who put a lot of polish into their stuff. But I am so curious to find out, do you shoot on like a DSLR? Is that what you shoot?
Right, yeah. So what I shoot on, because I understand the whole trade secrets aspect of it, but I also feel like you can give someone the same camera, you could give them the same lighting, you could give the, but it's more so about what's going on up here, like in my imagination, my mind. And so I usually tell people in the comments, I used to try to answer every single comment I got on my videos. Now that's getting kind of hard as far as timing. Like literally, I'll be responding back to comments, liking or hearting comments, and I take the time to read everybody's comments on my video. So as far as trade secrets are concerned, I usually answer questions like, I have someone ask me, hey, what editing program do you use? I use Sony Vegas Pro 17. A lot of people don't use that because they'll use Max, or they'll use, which are more user friendly.
Sure.
But I feel like growing up and having YouTube available to us now, you can how to anything in a YouTube search bar and get like a course on it. So I'm using Sony Vegas Pro 17, and the DSLR I use, I know a lot of people like Canon. I use Nikon. So I'm using a Nikon D3400 or 30, I think it's a 3200. And I'm just trying to push whatever I have to its limit as far as aspect ratio and quality, and I just try to push everything I have to the limit, because I'm not buying the most expensive equipment.
Sure.
And that's another reason why I never mind telling people what I'm using, because you can do this too. It's affordable. It's just more so, as you would know, I'm sure Melinda deals with you on sleepless nights as well too.
Oh yeah.
It's just not a lot of people that's willing to put in the time. And that's what's grueling. Like the amount of time that I had to spend learning, practicing. I have made full videos within the last 3 months. So right around the Nerdy Awards, right after, I have finished full videos and watched it back one time and said to myself, I don't like this. I'm just not going to put it out.
I have lost videos, entire like libraries of lost videos. I don't know if it's as much as, say, in minutes as, say, Prince's lost music catalog. I can't claim that, but I feel you, man. It's a lot of stuff. The reason I was talking about trade secrets was that I knew for a fact that, just like you said, you can give someone the same equipment, but they might not be able to, or literally can't recreate it. Last night, I was trying to recreate with my Eclipse figure that amazing shot that guy put on Instagram of Eclipse walking in the Egyptian tomb.
Oh yeah, that shot was really, that's the one Valor shared on his page, right?
Yeah.
On Instagram. Yeah, that shot was beautiful.
Dude,
that shot was beautiful.
I didn't have the tomb yet. I was just trying to get the pose.
Yeah.
I worked for an hour, and I was like, I was like,
damn it, the wrist is still messed up, the ankle's not right.
So like kind of, and I'm going, I've got a visual reference here, and I wrote Bobby and Ryan, and I threw the photo at them, and I said, this is after an hour's worth of work. I know it's nothing close for a perfectionist. It's nothing close to that photo. I swear that guy is a witch. Like, I'm like, there's no way I didn't figure out how to do it. But for you, your videos, I don't know if it's because of your background in photography. That's got to be part of it. But the way that you light your stuff, just to make it pop, like you've got that hyper crisp DSLR, as well, that look. But you've also got this beautiful lighting while things are moving with some, smoke effects at times and things like that. And you wrap all this together. And I'm just watching your stuff all the time going, oh, God, I mean, it's beautiful, but I'm exhausted thinking about how long, because I try to put
that's because you're a creator. Yeah. So so you don't watch anything without imagining to yourself, okay, how is this done? Because you have a peek behind the curtains. You do it with your stuff all the time. So I feel like we don't get to watch nothing from just a viewer standpoint and just appreciate the art. We're always thinking about, well, how many paintbrushes did he use? How much paint did he use? We never just get to enjoy the art. It's always, well, how much went into making this art?
Sure. Yeah. What I meant by trade secrets was the fact that when I'm asking you about your stuff, I'm not asking you to map out your lighting flow or anything. I don't want
Mhm.
people to ape your look is what I'm saying. What I was just trying to get at was that
Right.
I know that people won't come close at first,
Mhm.
but I am curious about your workflow.
Right.
So like from start, like, because some of your videos are what I call on my channel unplugs, where it feels like you're just commenting on something and you're kind of freestyling. And then other
Mhm.
videos, like the one you just did with Black Panther armor, I sit back and I go, I feel like he's like in a good way. I feel like he scripted this.
Yeah. So I never write out anything. I
Okay.
just, and that's another hard part because I
Mhm.
don't, even though I have tons of figures, you guys can see tons of figures. Um, a lot of the figures that I have, I might like them, and that's why I'm willing to spend money on them,
Mhm.
but maybe I don't like them enough to do a video on them.
Uh-huh.
So what you saw with the Black Panther figure, like a lot of other videos on my page, is that I like the figure so much that I don't need to script for the
Mhm.
most part, usually how I feel about it. It's
Ah,
just like, hey, and it's important for me. And that's why I just try to cram and sit down for 7, 8 hours straight and get everything done in one shot because I'm trying to keep those feelings and all those thoughts from when I first opened it,
uh-huh.
as opposed to if I just open it and then I'm like, oh, I'll do a video on that 5 days after I opened it. My
Right.
feelings are not going to be the same as far as the excitement. I'm so impressed by this figure. It's not going to come off as genuine if I
Right.
wait next week to do it
Yeah.
after I opened it already. So yeah, I don't now when I did the HasLab videos, of course that stuff's more scripted because it's more information based. It's
Sure.
more evidence based. But when it comes to just opening up figures and
Mhm.
showcasing a figure, yeah, I'm just freestyling. That's why I mess up all the time. I stutter, I repeat myself because I'm just freestyling. I'm just literally talking about how I genuinely feel about this tiny piece of plastic.
Yeah, so you data dump into an audio file, and then you edit that
Mm.
audio file into the
Right.
timeline. That
Yes.
see, okay, wow. I do that with my unplugs and a few action figure reviews, but the way that you express yourself
Mhm.
is it tricks the ear because when I was listening to your latest video, your video about the custom hell charger, a number of your pieces, I've often
Mhm.
sat back and gone, that could be written down because it's beautifully emoted, but I don't know. I feel like Columbo, where I'm like, can I just ask you one more question? Um, but yeah, the from the time you record that audio,
Mhm.
how long on average does it take you to complete one of your videos?
On average, I'm gonna say, like, let's say when I got those Valor girls in,
Mhm.
I was extremely happy with them. I was extremely impressed, and I was super motivated. So it was like, okay, I'm not gonna sleep tonight. I
Right.
don't like to do that on average.
Sure.
Like, it's not healthy to do on average, but I just love action figures so much that I don't always view it as work. I view it as an escape.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking to myself, even while I'm recording or editing, I'm saying to myself, recording, I'm making all these poses. That might be annoying having a pose, stop the camera, start the
Mhm.
camera, change the pose, start the camera, stop the camera, change. That's annoying. But what's pushing me through is to finally see that last edited scene. I just want to get
Mhm.
to that last edited scene with Pandora laying out all these officers. Like, let me
Yeah.
just get there. Once I get there, I'll feel better about all this work.
Sure.
So, on average, I would say a regular video with a figure that I'm happy with, I'm impressed with, I would say editing is probably at least a minimum of 6 to 7 hours.
Wow.
And that's after just regular work. Life, everybody has a
Mhm.
life. They have,
Mhm.
9 to 5s or regular jobs. And then it's like, okay, now I need to come do this for a minimum. A minimum. If nothing goes wrong, if I don't get critique myself too hard and I'm like, no, I don't like this, I need to do it again, I would say 7 hours.
So that includes all the post-production that you put into the polish and everything.
Mhm. I would say
So,
7. So
can
the
we
figure arrives. So the figure
Mhm.
arrives at my house.
Right.
I open it to make sure that, like, okay, is this figure going to be worth it? And
Yeah.
once I decide yes, it is, maybe 7 hours later, a video will basically be done. Maybe.
Wow. Can we change your name to Articulated Flash? Like, I mean, that's genuinely impressive. That's
It is.
genuinely impressive. I could be slowing down with my old age, but, like,
No.
sometimes, I sit back, like, I'm working on my Action Force 3 feature right now,
Mhm.
and it's we're about in a week in at this point, and, and I'm still trying to do shot lists and do all this stuff and everything. So to hear that, it kind of makes me want to start like a Rocky montage and like work out and get the eye of the tiger and get hungry again. I feel like there's this. I feel like I can hear Carl Weathers over me going, "You see all these guys? They still have the eye of the tiger." And it's like, oh. Then I'm going to be running on the beach with my socks pulled all the way up. And anyway, 8 hours. You do these videos. When you started on YouTube, what compelled you to start your channel? Like, what was it that said, I like my figures, I like my photography, but now I want to show it and say something like to the public? What made you do that?
So if you go back, because I could have deleted it and I didn't, because I wanted people to see the gradual growth, because it's not so much overnight. But if you go back to years ago, let's say some of the first few videos that I posted, it was more so just about, hey, I like this and I just want to basically give it a tribute. So, and I try to do that now in my videos. If you watch my videos, it's kind of like, I want to give my favorite action figures a tribute. This way, when I'm walking around my collection room, I have like this 70-inch flat screen. All my favorite figures that are on these shelves, they have a skit or a montage that comes up on that screen. So it's kind of like it's like the best of the best get to make it onto that montage or that screen with their own, cool. Like, so Pandora's video will pop up, and then let's say the Black Panther's video will pop up as I'm walking around or sitting in my collection room reading or whatever. I like to be able to see it on the screen. But it was more so about, like, I was doing it anyway. I was recording and doing photography and doing that stuff anyway, just for myself. And then, my girlfriend, she's like, well, you're doing this stuff anyway. Why not just share it with the world? If you're doing it anyway, it'd be different if you're only doing this to get a check, or you're only doing this for, the comments and the likes and the views. But you're editing and you're doing photography for hours anyway. Why not just share it then? Why not share it? And at first, it could be, okay, well, maybe you don't want to tell people what you got. You don't want to tell people how you do it. You don't want to, and I'm not really worried about that. Like I said, so yeah, it was more so like, okay, you're right. If I'm spending this much time doing this, I grew up, like, we wasn't rich by any means. And that's why I was so appreciative to every figure that I got as a child. So I grew up and I said to myself, having a hobby that takes hours out of my life, I don't feel like I'm financially stable enough to not gain no type of revenue back from that at all. So for example, I have a lot of friends, or I know people that will play the video game for 10 hours a day. Like, they get home from work and they get on Call of Duty, or they'll play the game for 10 hours a day, and that's it. And I would try to tell them, and I try to talk to them. I'm like, dude, like, everything that I'm doing on YouTube with action figures, you can do with gaming. I will walk you through all my editing. I will, but this way you can start investing in yourself, in a brand, build an audience, start to gain some money back, because you're just throwing away all of those hours every single day. So that's mainly why I was like, okay, I need to do this, or I just want to show off. Because back in the day, I used to like to hand make dioramas. So if you go back years, I have like entire city blocks, and it's shitty now when I look at it. There's 10 times better things now. I could do it 10 times better now. But at the time, I was just so proud of it. I was much younger. I was so proud of it. And I was like, hey, let me just show people what I made in case they want to make it. Because I watch a lot of diorama videos, and some of them, not all of them, but some of them don't walk them through what they used, how much they cost. And I used to try to do that because I wanted people to be able to go to Home Depot or whatever and be able to do this if they wanted to. Like, this is not out of anybody's reach. Right. That's why I said, I'll say the program I'm using. I'll say, like, I use 3 lights, like in a triangle, the whole keyframe setup. And I'm like, okay, I'll tell someone all this stuff. But when someone really gets to peek behind the curtain and see, as creators, how the hours, the time, the editing, and a lot of people do turn away. And that's understandable. That's totally understandable. But when I don't think people realize, let's say when I watch your videos, I sat back this week and me and my girl watched your man-child news. Oh my God. Oh my God. I was literally, and I've been talking with her like about, maybe I should start some type of news video on my channel. I watched that, and in the most positive way I could say this, it was completely discouraging. Like I had seen that and was like, oh no, like there's gonna be no better than this. Like, and I'm like, so this guy's doing this once a month. He's
Mhm.
reporting on all of the BS that happens within the entire month, and I love it. But I'm like, if he did this every week, if he set it up like this every week with action figures, mainly just news about action, there would be no Foosh news. There wouldn't
Right.
be. It's not
Right.
entertaining. The man child, dude, that series, like I was literally sitting there watching with, and I'm like, he fucking destroyed me. Like he destroyed everything. Like this is so good. This is so catchy. Everything about it. I felt like I was like, I don't know. It's something like I can have the man child news series playing in the background
Uh-huh.
while I'm just doing photography or video. And it really makes me feel like I'm back in those times with like sarcastic humor going in, and like it's so good, but it's once a month. And I
Right.
sit back and I watch them and I'm like, dude, I can only imagine how long this takes him to do, because he has to script everything out, he has to gather all the articles, the information, he has to do the voice, he has to pitch it, he has to. I'm like, man, it's why it's once a month, right?
It's also because you gotta call like what stories are gonna actually be funny. You know, like
Right,
because like Melinda will tell you, and it was funny. Melinda got me to start my channel as well, so we have the same story. She was my girlfriend at the time. The short version is that every morning when I wake up, I have a bad habit of the first thing I do is I prop up my pillows and I look at my phone. And what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the news feed, the Google news feed, because they've got you dead to rights with your algorithm, so they know what your news stories you're looking for. And so I just sit there and I kind of like go through it every morning and I go, oh, that's shocking. Oh, and it's all pop culture stuff. It's like, oh, that. And then I write down the ones that I think have the most potential impact.
right.
Because there's people that want me to do man-child news every week. And I'm like,
oh, I'm one of them. But I also understand why you can't, see? Because I'm sitting here for hours every day editing. So I
right.
understand why you can't, but I am definitely one of those people that would enjoy that every single week.
Well, I appreciate that. I really do. And I also appreciate the fact that you know how much work goes into it,
Oh
because
my God.
there's people that think that any of us just make videos like cornflakes. And it's like, no, it's actually, it takes a
Well,
lot of time.
that's because a lot of us do. There's a lot of people that they'll just throw a slideshow up and
Mm-hmm.
just shit talk for 5 to 10 minutes.
Right.
And then they'll be like, oh, what I did is amazing. Dude,
Mm-hmm.
no,
Yeah.
like stop.
Doesn't
Stop.
work that way. If you want
No.
to walk away proud of it,
Right, exactly.
yeah. We have a question for you from Juan's Toys and Bricks. He says, Ninja, did you have any Rurouni Kenshin figures in your collection?
So there was one recently that I got, and I think I had him in my top 10 for 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And it was once again, because we didn't talk about this yet, but a lot of these Chinese third-party companies are making some crazy cloth goods action figures nowadays. And this stuff wasn't even optional 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It wasn't even in the cards. And now they're coming out with some amazing figures. And it's like they'll change the name slightly. You know what I'm saying? To get
Yeah.
away with it. They'll change the name slightly, but it doesn't change the fact that this figure is amazing. But there's a Rurouni Kenshin figure that I believe I found on 5ktoys.com. And that figure was really, really nice. I'm pretty sure I had it in my top. I'm not sure if I showed it or not, but yeah, that figure is really good if you're looking for Rurouni Kenshin figures.
Spaceman Spiral says, Ninja, your stop motion and songs are great, by the way.
Hey, thank you. The songs I literally have fun with.
Yeah, I mean, you that's the thing I love about your videos is that they have such a variety of points of view. Like it's all coming from the same mind, but the way you express things from moment to moment thematically is diverse. Like it's different ways of visually, and auditorily telling the story of the toy or the topic or whatever. It's not so cookie cutter. Like your channel is not cookie cutter at all. I can tell that every video is hand stitched.
Yeah.
I would call your channel in the
It's
toy
tiring.
community a bespoke toy channel. That's what I would call your channel. Yeah. The Canuck says, hail Michael, Melinda, and Ninja. Love your work, all of you. Keep up the great work. Hail Sal, hail chat, hail mods. Keep up the great work, everyone. Love you all. Thank you, Canuck. And then Moon Knight 47 says, I meant to do this a while back, but literally just subbed to Articulated Ninja.
Thank you.
You will not be disappointed. Just Plain Ken says, Ninja makes me feel better about myself because I do all those things constantly. And then Melinda says, I don't know how Articulated Ninja does that so fast. And then Jason Anderson says, I mean, it takes me 7 hours to back my car out of the garage. And then Mad About Toys says, Articulated Ninja makes legit the best toy videos on the planet.
Thank you, Mad.
I will. You know what? I agree with you, and I will try not to take that as a personal insult. Mad About Toys. Ninja has convinced me to record myself working on cars and get demonetized by YouTube thanks to my cursing.
Hey, at least you started, man. That's what it's about. Whether it's cars, action figures, or gaming, it's just like there's basically, especially now with technology, you can find an audience of people that will be interested in the same exact thing you're interested in. Yep. It might take time, it might take hard work, but without a doubt, I'm telling you, you can find a small collective group of people. And how big that small collective group can grow there's no ceiling, but you can at least start off with a small group of people that maybe appreciates your sense of humor, that has the same interest as you. And I was aware of it, but I didn't really think it would happen. And then it started to happening the more consistent that I stayed.
Yeah.
So I'm super appreciative.
Kaiju Comics, thank you for the super chat. He says, Ninja was my favorite YouTube discovery of 2022. His work and enthusiasm is inspiring, much the same way RT has been. You guys are the best. Much love. Thank you very much for saying such kind things about our guest. He is amazing, and I'm so excited that we have him here tonight. Oops, damn, I meant RetroBlasting.
We know what you meant.
We know what you meant. I thought you meant retweet, but that's cool. You know, whatever. All right, so we are at oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Ramen Toys.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Wow. He says, hoping Articulated Ninja may make a video about our Happy Halloween 2022 when we showcase the prototype. Maybe he means 2023.
Right.
Not to shill for us. Oh no, but it would help to get the word out to more people that it exists. Nothing but fair play and respect. Always great to see Ramen Toys in the chat for real.
Right.
Question for you here from Pit Stain Hobbies for myself and you. What is your take on the 40% price drop for starting lineup from Hasbro and the general state of this pricing mess? Please, sir, you have the floor.
I was about to tell you, you might as well go first, because when it comes to this type of stuff, the way that you choose to articulate yourself is usually not comparable to anybody, including myself. So I would feel more confident in myself if I went after you.
All right. The way I feel about it is, I was saying from the beginning, I never did a video about it. I was talking about it with friends in the background on social media. I was like, wait a minute. I grew up around the jocks, and while they were nice to me in high school because I was the football manager, they were never people that were interested in toys. They were interested in jerseys and sneakers and, you know, the livery of the team. Yeah. And I said, at $50, all the figures are basically, they have the same accessories. They all have the same clothing on, just different colors. And so they're all just kind of there to hold a ball or hold a ball like this or whatever. I'm like, this is not good. Like, this is a very boneheaded idea. Who was the soccer mom or the Chad at Hasbro that was like, oh yeah, sports figures. Right. So I'm not surprised that they're trying to clear them out. That's my take. What about you?
See, that's why I'm glad that you went first, because for you to go back to that high school reference, right? And you spoke about the fact that a lot of those guys, they weren't interested in that. So my best friend that I grew up with, he hit a growth spurt. I'm not sure around, I can't even remember when it happened, but he's 6'9". So he played basketball his entire life. Yeah, he's 6'9". So it's funny. We went to an amusement park for my birthday, and they wouldn't let him on certain rides just because of the factor of it being risky. With his legs and his arms and everything, there was just like, no. So he couldn't get on a lot of the rides. But him being 6'9", he watched me collect figures my entire life. And no matter how hard I would try to get him into, because at the time it was maybe McFarlane did some sports figures or maybe, and I would always be like, dude, this figure, the sculpting on it looks pretty nice. You should pick it up or whatever. Never his thing. And majority of those guys, because since I played in the middle, so you said you were the manager. I
Yeah.
was also on the team. So I was the only kid on the team collecting action figures. Football, basketball, and I was the only player collecting action figures.
Yep.
And it was like no matter how I advertised it to the guys, no matter how passionate they seemed or how much fun it gave me, it was like a clear line for them. No, I'm good. No, I'm good. So the first thing that I said when I saw Hasbro was doing it, I said to them, like, who's buying that? Who is their target audience here? Because majority of the guys, sure, that like Superman and Batman, maybe they'll pick up one or two of their favorite players, but they're not interested in finishing an entire team, an entire roster, that's not happening. So from the moment I seen it, I said to myself, 2 years from now, this probably won't be here.
Right.
And it looks like it's going that way. It looks like it's not going to be a thing a year from now. So we'll see what happens. I not that I want that. I don't want that, because I'm sure there are people that are looking forward to those figures. But we'll see a year from now if that thing is still a thing.
I remember saying to myself, I was like, what would it take to get me to buy one of those? And I was like, well, if it was classic 23 Jordan or Spud Webb, I might buy one. I'm like, one of those two guys. Maybe Larry Bird, just because he was an 80s icon as well.
Right.
But even that would be, all of those three would still be a hard sell. It'd be like, do I really want to spend $50 on that? I don't know.
Well, I'm like, okay, Valor, of course he's gonna buy Steve Nash. You know, they do like everybody that I know is naming just a few selected players, but nobody has a list of 10 players. They're like, oh, you make these 10 players, I'm definitely gonna get everybody has like 3, maybe 5. You know, they want to put together their little dream team, 5 players on a team. But as far as basically when that was released, I see no longevity in it. No longevity at all. I'm like, even if these guys reuse the same body, unless they're going to be selling these figures for, let's say, $15 or $20, where we can use them as civilians, because the head sculpts look like great civilian head sculpts. That's just me kit bashing in my mind. I'm like, unless we can do that, but I'm not paying $40 for a Hasbro head sculpt. Definitely not happening. Not happening.
I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, that'd be an easy way to get LeBron into G.I. Joe or Action Force.
You're right.
And then when someone comes into your toy room and they're just looking around, you know, they're like, is that LeBron James in a sailor suit?
Yes, it is. And I'm proud of it.
Laser Pants, thank you for being here. He says, you must check out the V-Toys Shadow Ninjas. I bet they'd be worthy of an articulated ninja video.
Yeah, so I was totally unaware of those, and I seen he showed it in one of the live chats he did recently. He showed it off on screen for a while, and I was like, man, that things look nice. But once again, so the Black Panther figure was like $100 figure. The good thing about that is I would not be tempted to build 10 of those Black Panther figures. It's not an army builder. When I seen Ryan show off that ninja, like the first thing I asked myself is, I say to myself, is this worth going broke for?
Right.
Like, is this going to be worth eating peanut butter and jellies for? And if the answer is no, I'm like, I don't even want to open the door. I don't even want to fall in love with something that I cannot have. And realistically, sure, I can have it, but at what cost? At what cost to me? Right. So realistically, I could have, and that was the same thing with the HasLab, the his tank. It's like I could have technically army built 3 or 4 and still been okay. But in my mind, I said to myself, do I really want to open that door just for this? Because this isn't a one-off vehicle. This is an army building vehicle. Why would they do it like this? That is just total greed. And I was like, you know what? Because it's an army building vehicle, I'm just going to choose to keep the door closed on that one. But I agree with Ryan. Those ninjas look great, man. But that price, I want to see if he army builds them. Because get him 1 or 2, it's okay.
I had the same dilemma with the Storm Collectibles Golden Axe trio. I wanted that trio so badly. I was like, oh, and I knew they were expensive, with the Barbarian guy being the most, because he was like super exclusive or something. He's like they're all 150 or something, and he's 225 or something like that. And I was always this close, and then I was like, no, I cannot justify spending $750 on 3 6-inch action figures. I can't do it. And I walked away. Which brings us to a nice question here. Thank you for the super chat. Who has more toys? I'm going to say that A Ninja has more toys than me.
Nah, I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so, because especially with what you do with content creation, and then I seen your tour room and everything else, and I'm like, there's so many things I don't do. There's so many. I'm such a selective buyer now that I don't have basically the DCUC was one of the last things that I almost was a completist on.
Right.
Ever since then, even when Toy Biz came around with Legends, it was like, I'm only going to buy what I really want to. And I don't want, you know, some people, no shade to them, but they're okay with having, like, you see all these shelves around me. None of them are like a shelf full of 37 Supermans. I don't collect like that.
Right.
I try to find the best one or two, maybe three, and I just leave it at that. And then if a better one comes out, I'll get rid of that older one because I don't want a shelf of 40 Batmans. I don't want a shelf of, no shade to those guys. If you love it that much, if this is what makes you happy, I'm glad that this is making you happy and not crack. Sure. I'm very glad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But for me personally, the way that I collect, I can't have a shelf full of 37 of the same character. So I would definitely say your collection, I'm assuming, is big, and then all of our collections are small compared to Talker Arts.
Yes, everybody's collection is small compared to Talker Art.
Right. Shout out to Talker Art. I hope you heal up, man.
Yeah,
but his collection is, dude. When I was watching his live with the 3POA, he would like go off screen for like 2 seconds and pull something from 1974.
Yeah,
and I'm like. And he did it multiple times. And he's like, they would bring up, oh, yeah, remember that in 1994? And you know that. And he'd be like, give me 1 second. I felt like we was in a library. And he was like the archive master in a library. And he's just like, oh, you mean this one? Oh, you mean that one? Dude, it was crazy. His collection is crazy.
My collection is what I call big because most of it's on escrow. Like most of it is here to do a video. And then eventually, once the video is done, once I get to it, I probably will move that collection on. But like the stuff you see in the cases and stuff is by and large probably going to be kept for a while. If RetroBlasting ends, you know, I'll move things on. But you know how it sneaks up on you sometimes where I'm like you, I only buy, or I try to buy, for most lines, I really only care about the core characters. So whatever those are, I'm not a completist in most regards.
You don't want the all silver or the gold variant from McFarlane? You don't want those?
No.
Are you sure?
No.
Are you sure? They're kind of shiny. Are you sure?
I also don't want the Star Wars figures that are just spray painted gold.
Are you the carbonized? Oh my god.
Yeah. But like I will not intend to be that way. It's like for Marvel Legends, I thought this was back pre-Endgame. I thought I was just going to collect the characters I liked that were all MCU style. And then slowly I put an Amazing Friends group together before they did that box set. And then I put together an X-Men arcade set because, you know, and then suddenly I realized, I'm like, why do I have 10 or 11 different Marvel Legends Spider-Men? How did that happen?
I've come to that too. Yeah. I had to realize that. I had that moment too. I'm like, how did this happen? And how can I make sure this doesn't happen again? That was the big deal right there.
Yes. It is a constantly what's the word I'm looking for? You have to constantly put your attention on that challenge in order to keep yourself from being physically overwhelmed by what's coming in. Question for Articulated Ninja: how high do your figures drop, and how did you come up with that idea? Oh, the figure drops.
Yeah. So I came up with the idea, unfortunately, under bad circumstances, because I have some of my figures. Like I will keep some of my figures in the basement, and sometimes, you know, I'm not sure how, because we don't get any earthquakes over New York, New Jersey, PA. We don't get earthquakes, but I would go into the basement from time to time, and a figure would be from the top shelf, which I would say is about 6.5 feet, maybe, and it would be on the floor. And it's on a concrete floor, maybe in 2 or 3 pieces. So I was like, damn, if this was a carpet floor, I'm pretty sure the rate of survivor, the rate that it would survive by is probably 10 times greater. Yeah. So seeing that happen multiple times, I said to myself, if I do decide to leave this figure in the basement, right, will it possibly survive a fall? So it was just a run-on joke. And it was like, after I open a great figure, assuming it's plastic, that Black Panther was a metal figure. It was die-cast metal. But assuming it's plastic, I'm like, okay, let me just break my heart now, because I don't want it to be broken behind my back in the future. So if it's going to happen, I would much rather this shit happen right in front of my face. Yep. So I started doing it. And it was like, oh, I should probably record me doing this dumb shit. And that's exactly what I did.
When we finished the basement studio here, when we moved into this house, everybody was telling me you don't want to put carpet down in a basement. They're like, you
Yeah.
don't want carpet.
Yeah.
You want like a hardwood flooring or something like that. And I said, I can't do that. And they were like, why? I said, because I'm going to be grabbing action figures a lot. And if they drop and fall, I need a plushy carpet for them to hit to minimize the risk of breakage.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay. And it's worked out fine so far. But yeah.
That's good. That's good. And real quick, I brought it up yesterday. But happy birthday to Melinda. I don't know if she's seeing my comment in the chat, but I hope she had a really peaceful, stress-free, drama-free day. Happy birthday, Melinda.
She will appreciate that. She's actually watching the stream right now.
That's cool.
Eric, thank you for the super chat. He says, cheers, gentlemen. Keep up the good work. Keep speaking your minds. Well, I hope this guy right here continues to do just that, because you do it so well. Greedo Cheeto, thank you for the super chat. I finally built up a decent enough collection where I now want to get into some photography. Any recommendations or tips for a first timer? Huge fan of both of your channels.
I would say, I'm not sure what type of phone you have, but it's not necessary, especially with the technology on phones now. You don't have to overcommit and go and buy a $500 camera. You don't have to do that. Mess around, look up with your phone, assuming the most popular phones, like the newest iPhones, the newest Galaxies, and the camera quality on these phones are ridiculous. I don't think anybody planned for the camera quality to get so good. There's times where I'm messing with my DSLR, and then I'll shoot the same thing for a short or for a vertical video on my phone, and it looks just as good or better. And I'm like, what did I buy this huge camera for? Like, it's slowly becoming obsolete because of the technology and the processing speeds that these phones are capable of doing nowadays. So I would say, look up your phone and look it up on YouTube, try to find the best settings, and start shooting with your phone first before you overcommit to a $500-$600 camera. And your phone, 9 times out of 10, if you take the time to really try to angle it right, mess around with lighting, you can buy a small little box light from Amazon for like $30-$40, and it's USB chargeable and stuff like that. So buy one little box light, use your phone, just try to use what you have without spending more money than we have. So just try to do that, and I think you can probably get some really good results. And then if you like that, then you can, invest more financially into it if you're good with that. So
nice. Travis says, go ninja, go. Cute Fluff says hi. She's a friend of our channel. So
hey, hi.
Jason Anderson, thank you. He says, that right there is my thought process 100% of the time. Is this worth eating ramen over the thing for? Scott Hughes says, I don't even know how a kid would play with sports action figures. What adventures is Dan Marino going on? If you wanted to play sports, you would actually just grab a ball and go play. Yeah.
And then when it's convenient for them, Hasbro, that is, they will, at the same time, they will act like their target audience is children. Don't act like that. You're putting out a starting lineup. It's called the starting lineup. And these are not for kids. The target audience here is not 5-year-olds. It doesn't matter what it says on a box. The box can say 3+ or 5+ or whatever. That is not majority of your sales revenue. Is not the 5-year-olds, not the 10-year-olds. So
yeah, especially with the price point that we're dealing with right now.
Oh my God. Figures. Yeah, right.
I mean, I laugh when I laugh when I see people who try to defend the fact that these are toys for kids, dude. And it's like, and then they follow that with, so you shouldn't be so critical. I'm like, no kid that I know is spending $35 on Sony Spider-Man 2 Spider-Man.
Right.
Like, there's no way.
That's going into Fortnite V-Bucks or some online game, or that's where it's going for this generation. And I'm okay with that. That's fine. Yeah. But when these companies act like it's otherwise, I'm like, oh man, that's pretty shitty. Like that is definitely pretty shitty.
Yeah. And as we saw from the interview last night on 3POA with the guy, right. He was talking about how they do deliberately make certain figures scarce. They do make certain characters hard to find.
I'm sure.
They know that's what they're doing, and we've known that for years. But
of course,
Melinda says thank you for wishing her a happy birthday.
You're welcome.
I'm looking for okay. So Master Son 42 is here.
Hey, Master Son, what's up?
He's a dear friend of this channel as well, and thank you for the kind super chat. Sorry, late tuning in. Happy birthday, Melinda. Love you as much as I can without it being creepy. Ninja, what's up, man? I will see you at Joe Fest Valicon. Keep doing what you're doing. Michael,
yes, you will. Yes, you will. You seen, I recognized your name, I recognized your picture, and yeah, he's been a usual on the channel lately too. So yeah, I'll definitely see you at Valicon.
It was really funny when we didn't. Master Son and I have been friends for a long time, and
Hmm.
he didn't know, and I didn't know that we both watched you. And then one day it just kind of came up, and he sent me a message. He goes, "You watch Articulated Ninja?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Ah, yes, I love that dude." And I'm like, "Yeah, he's good." So we are now in a phase where some people argue it's the golden age of action figures.
Okay.
Do you subscribe to that idea? I
So
mean,
when
there's
you
no wrong
say,
answer. There's no wrong answer.
right, it's just feelings, right? When you
Mhm,
say golden age,
mhm.
what do you mean by that? What does that mean to you?
Well, I've had to ask them what they mean when they say that because I've never
Right,
said that. But
right.
what they mean is that the amount of options that we have,
Hmm.
the number of characters that are coming
Okay.
out, the number of licenses that are being issued, that kind of thing. And I'm kind
Okay.
of sitting back going, well, I guess I can see their point in some ways, but I really love to get your take on that.
Okay. So I don't. I guess if I was going to say golden age, I don't want to say. I would say the best time so far.
Hmm.
I do think as long as we don't get into World War 7 or 8 or whatever, I do think better times are to come.
Hmm.
But as far as what, like I said, having conversations with the older men in my life, and as far as what their options were with no internet, just
Hmm.
having to go to Toys R Us or KB Toys or
Yep.
Target or Macy's or Sears or whatever the exclusive was at the time, um, I think I'm living in the best age so far.
Hmm.
But my little brothers, who 10 years younger than me, they will have an easier or a better time than I currently have, assuming the apocalypse doesn't happen, or
Right.
we wind up in like the Last of Us world or something like that. Assuming nothing like that happens, because the way some of these people run these countries, it's pretty tricky for me to figure out if we're still going to be okay five
Right.
years from now.
Yeah.
But assuming none of that happens, I do think, I joke with my little brother all the time, 10 years younger. I'm like, dude, I'm sure that you're going to be able to go on your phone, open up an app, and see what's on a Target shelf,
Uh-huh.
like a live feed of exactly what's on the shelf. I'm pretty sure that, to me, that does not seem as unrealistic as it might seem for other people.
Right.
When I figured out what Pop Finder was, I
Hmm.
was like, dude, what is this? Like, how is this even possible? How is this even? But we're walking around now with literally encyclopedias in our pocket,
Hmm.
like just tiny little devices that store almost unlimited amounts of information.
Yeah.
So with that being said, as technology just keeps going, 3D printing, I got a 3D printer. I'm like, oh, I'll just do some small 3D printing. And right now it's time consuming. It might be messy if you do resin or you do FDM or whatever, but that technology, I'm watching it year after year get better and better and better. So, and that could lead into a whole nother subject, whether these toy companies are prepared for how crazy 3D printing can get as far as the collector. Because once the collector can start printing their own vehicles, and granted, you can do it now, but I'm not the biggest fan of the actual material. I don't think it's sturdy like that. There's just a bunch of things. It's not, basically, if I try to 3D print an action figure, right? I try to 3D print my own Pandora, it is not going to be the good quality that I know that I'm buying from Valiverse. It's going to be more fragile. It's going to have more issues. But I would say maybe 10 years from now,
Hmm.
I do think the 3D printing quality, machines, everything will be much, much more comparable to what's actually on the shelf. And I'm interested to see how these industries are going to navigate that. Um,
I know they're having that problem already, or that challenge, I should say, with the role-playing miniatures. That
Exactly.
yeah,
Right. Because you don't have to worry about articulation. You don't have to
right.
worry about none of those things when it comes to that. So I see some of these miniatures, and oh, if I sign up for a Patreon account, I can get 20, 30 miniatures every month,
Mhm.
custom, amazing detail.
Yep.
And I just print them, and I can print unlimited, because a lot of those Warhammer, and they're army building too. So
Mhm.
now I can choose to print out unlimited, or I can go to the store and pay $20 for a 3-pack.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. That
It
is
really
wild.
yeah, it really is, and I think you made some great points about why we could define this as the golden age. The one area I think where it's where our parents and my generation had it a little better, it wasn't we didn't have the sheer variety that we have now
Right.
with like the deep cuts on a lot of these Marvel heroes and stuff. Like
Yeah.
we were kind
Yeah.
of at the mercy of what they were just going to give us in a year,
Right.
you know, whatever.
Right.
But what we did have was relative certainty that when we showed up at a store, they would be there in quantity.
You did
Right?
that I won't deny. Even me being a kid, and I remember walking into, I don't know if you've ever been to like a KB Toys or anything before. I remember, and it's like the shelves were always magical.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
literally, the shelves were never bare. They were
Mhm.
the entire wave. You're looking for a Power Ranger, man. We got all of them, not just one, not just two. They're not. I don't know if they wasn't ordering in just cases of one or two, but it's like they ordered entire cases of everything
Mhm.
before. And even I would say, not sure, but even when I first remember when Toy Biz first started the Legends, I
Mhm.
was able to walk into Target or walk into wherever, and I seen an entire wave of those Toy Biz Legends together.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't like, oh, let's sprinkle out two here and then do another two 5 months from now and then give you another. No, the entire wave was there in multiple cases, and
Mhm.
that's beautiful. But to answer the question with the golden age, I think if I have to, not if I have to, but if I'm going to agree with the golden age of action figures, I would say I'm appreciative to be alive during the best times so far. I know better times are to come, but I also know it could be 10 times worse.
Yes.
Especially and we're none of us, for the most part, a lot of us, I don't think, are living in any third world countries.
Right.
Second world countries. And so of course I have my issues with Hasbro. Of course I have my issues with companies, but that does not change the fact that I am super appreciative to have the life that I have, to be able to afford the things that I'm able to afford, and not stress and not. I am super appreciative about all that stuff. But also on the other hand, just because I'm appreciative about it doesn't mean that I can't spot an injustice. Doesn't mean that I can't speak on something that it shouldn't be happening like that either. But I'm still super appreciative to be alive during this time of action figure collecting.
Yeah.
I think it's the best so far.
Spaceman says, as a modern collector these days, I feel like I'm getting the stuff I've been waiting for since the 80s. And that's kind of what I was getting at with we're no longer at the mercy of Impossible Pie says it's the golden age because we're adults and we have actual money to spend on toys with tons of options.
That is true.
Scott Hughes says, gotta say 82 to 89 was the golden age just due to the number of different lines available. Yeah, they were a little more daring with what they would put out for sure.
Oh yeah, it wasn't as like you got to be careful if you don't say your pronouns, and you wasn't. That's annoying, and I feel like that plays into. I hate to bring politics into toys, right?
Right.
But at the same time, it definitely affects the market regardless, without a doubt. Because now you're telling me that I'm being sold a figure with trigger holding hands, but no gun. No gun, because it's not allowed for a gun to be in the package with the figure. So now let's say McFarlane, now he has to release on his website an entire gun accessory set under some other weird name, but that's clearly a Harley Quinn gun in the set that should have been with the Harley Quinn. But because of politics and everybody, I just feel like we live in a 10 times more sensitive era or time than we used to. It's just like we're also being limited. At the same time, we have so much variety, there's so much limitations.
We're having to navigate, like you said, some weird minefields right now. World Meta Cardboard, thank you for the super chat. He says, was introduced to Articulated Ninja on 3POA and I subscribed. Great fun content. Hope to get to Joe Fest Valicon this year. Hope to see you.
I hope so. I hope to see you.
Ramen Toys, geez, thank you so much for the kind super chat. He says,
this is another one.
Question for both.
Okay.
As toy collectors and critics, have any of you ever considered to work for toys, meaning a career with a Hasbro or the like? To input the critic into the creation, there are definite pros and cons in my humble opinion. What's yours?
You want me to go first? Or
sure.
Okay. Somebody asked a question like this on the 3POA podcast too. And I just left it as no, I wouldn't do work for Hasbro. And I think it's great that, thank you, Ramen, for asking a question like this. So the reason that I say no, I wouldn't work for Hasbro, or I wouldn't work for a company like Hasbro, is because I see how they treat their employees, especially their passionate ones. You know, it's different if you want to hold an employee accountable that has shown up late multiple times, disorderly conduct, but I watch how they treat some of their, or discipline or whatever. A lot of injustice happens with some of their most passionate employees. And I don't think that that's right at all. So for me to sign up and work for a company like that, and you brought up Rick being on the show yesterday with Laser Pants, and he mentioned that he was on and off for about 8 years. For me personally, I'm like, there's no security there for me. There's nothing. It's like, so maybe you guys pay me well, or you give me some work for the first 3 months, but I would feel fulfilled going to work for a company that I'm in alignment with, that I feel like, hey, I actually like the owner. Hey, I actually support the product. Hey, you will get 10 times more out of me as a worker if I actually like my work setting, like the company I work for. Like, so the reason that I say no is because I don't want to be affiliated with their business practices. Because, and I've turned down, this made me think about the last donation that Ramen Toys gave, and they mentioned me talking about the car. So I have turned down, honestly, I can't count, guys, like, and I can't count how many companies I've already turned down, including, remember that controversial, like they sent out the GI Joe promotional pack with the Killer Croc, and I said Killer Croc. So
no, that's fine. I get you.
So they sent that stuff out, and I sit back and I'm like, if I got it, I'm not gonna, I don't want to necessarily just talk shit about them, or I don't want to, but I am not gonna feature something on my channel if I don't like the way that it looks. Or let's say, because I love that Fiona. I love the fact that we got an actual crocodile or alligator, whatever. I loved Fiona, but the fact that it was so hard for so many other collectors to get. I'm like, hey, let me get on screen and show everybody, hey, look what they sent me for free, and good luck trying to get it, guys. I didn't want to be that guy. So, and it was a total opposite with Pandora, where it's like, okay, this is something that I'm going to buy regardless. This is something that I'm going to spend hundreds, and have spent hundreds on this series, on these girls, on these. So it doesn't bother me to be like, okay, I'll get those products in, and I'll make a video showcasing how much I love these actual products, because I'm also spending money on these actual products. But I feel like when it comes to working for a company like Hasbro, and it doesn't matter if you like the products. You have to pretend you like the products. You have to make the products look nice, even if you don't think they look nice. And I would not sign up to do that for a company like Hasbro. 100% not. And then I feel like a lot of people come to my channel because of how genuine it is, because of my integrity, because of my honest opinion. So now if I'm just taking stuff from Super 7 and take stuff that I know I'm not interested in, stuff that I know I'm not going to buy, or I'm going to take, I heard, I don't know how true it is, but Super 7, I guess they released a Mo figure and he's missing the apron or something like that. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know the details because I don't collect that. But now let's say if I did, they're going to send it to me and I'm supposed to say all positive things about this figure and not really speak on that, or not. It's not going to happen. And it's crazy to me. That's why I brought up Ramen Toys, their last donation, because if I think the car looks good, if I'm willing to spend my own money on a car, 100% send it my way, and I will 100% give you my honest thoughts on it. But I tell people all the time, or I tell company, if this doesn't even look good, if this is something that I know I'm not willing to spend my money on, you will never catch me advertising anything to my audience that I am not willing to spend the money on. From what I've seen of the ramen car, it looks good. It looks good so far, but that's still so far. So hopefully when that time gets a little bit closer with them, we can work something out and they can reach out to me. And I hope it does look amazing. It looks great. And I can actually show it on my channel and help spread the word, because why would I not want to spread the word about something that I like, or that I'm passionate about, or why I would just want to. But that's the long answer. I'm sorry that was so long, but that was the long answer for working for a company like Hasbro. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. As opposed to where I know, okay, I'm gonna get no security with Hasbro, and I'm probably gonna get laid off in 2 years, if I even make it that far, right? I'm probably gonna get laid off in 2 years, no security, no nothing. Why don't I put all that effort into another company like Valiverse? Why don't I put I get way more security there, even if I don't always agree with what Valis says, exactly how he says it and all. At the end of the day, he's a man of his fucking word. At the end of the day, he tries to make his actions match. He means what he says, and he says what he means. Even if there's going to be some negative repercussions to that, he still stands on his ground. I would much rather, if I'm not working on my own stuff, my own action figure, I would be 100% in alignment with being partnered with someone like that versus Hasbro. No, I can't be partnered with something like that. But I would love to be able to go to work every day and basically take pictures or create content for figures or products that I actually enjoy. That's a dream job. Like that is a dream job for me. In the beginning, I will accept being underpaid for that dream
Sure.
job.
Sure.
But for it to be for what I feel like is a bad company, or a company that could care less about their employees, their customers, they only seems like to me they only really care about their shareholders. So I can't do that. I can't sign up to do that. Not to mention, if you're talking about work for that company and then also advertise their stuff on my channel, now I'm throwing my channel down the drain too.
Yeah, you've
I
literally tied the anchor around your foot, and
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. I can't do
yeah,
that. And I've worked so hard. Like I said, I can't tell you guys. I can count on one hand how many quote unquote free products I received. And if I do look at this, the car, any vehicle from Ramen Toys, or that will still be space left on that one hand, because I am not going to promote anything to my audience that I don't like, or I'm just paid to, or I'm just no, absolutely not. And that's why I don't do some YouTubers. They'll do like, oh, here's my PO box to just send me random stuff. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. That's great, because I do see like sometimes your audience will send you, like, they can send you pictures, letters, and these things. I would like to get those things, pictures, letters, things like that. That's very heartfelt. But then on the opposite side of that, you will have people that feel like they're entitled to a video from you because they decided on their own to send you a product, like their product.
Yep.
That's a slippery slope. So I said, you know what? Once again, let me not even open the door. So I don't really do the whole, hey, send me, here's my PO box, send me free figures, send me.
Yep.
I don't really do it because I'm worried that now we go to Valicon and some guys like, hey, I sent you my 3D printed stuff to show off and you didn't. Well, I don't have to. That's the thing. You chose to send that on your own accord. I don't have to do it. And I just felt like it can get ugly before it gets nice. So I'm like, dude, let me not even open the door. I see so many other influencers or content creators do it, and I'm like, let me not even open that door. So literally, I can count on one hand how many products I've actually received for free that I actually showcased on my channel and said positive things about. But those positive things that I said were all heartfelt things because I was going to buy this regardless.
Yep. Yeah. It was you and I seem to walk that same path, because I never solicit for people to send me stuff. My PO box is by request only, and I have to know, what are you wanting to send, and what is it?
See, that makes sense. That makes maybe I should, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and it's like, and if it's a corporate request or a product request, I always then say, if I care enough about it, then I always go, okay, are there any caveats or embargoes or anything on what I can say? Because I'm not going to play that game. If you're sending me
they'll send you a Christmas list. They'll send you a Christmas list. I have gotten those before, and it's crazy because before I reach 10K, I started to get offers from certain companies to advertise certain things, or and then after 10K, it's kind of ridiculous now at this point. But anytime I ask the question, like you said, which is, okay, well, is there things you don't want me to say, or do I have free reign to say whatever I want to? Vala sends me a product, good or bad. Literally, he'll let me know, dude, whether you like it, if you like it or you don't like it, it doesn't matter. Just be honest about it. But I don't care what you say. I don't care. I don't have to show him the video before I posted it. He's just like, go publish it, go live. It doesn't matter. I sent you the products because I genuinely want to know how you feel about them. There is almost zero other companies that I have met that have run or operated in that manner. Every other company is like, well, what are you going to say? Well, what negative thing would you have to bring up, or what? Like, I'm not allowed to. Like, I'm not, dude. So I don't know. It's, but hey, that goes into the title, being real, tonight, right?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
it's funny, man. It is funny.
Skillextric was cool about it when they wanted to send me a slot car set, which I did a review on a few years ago, and they were like, yeah, we don't have any caveats. Like, we just want to see what you think. And I'm like, oh, cool. And then the other company that I'm sure they regretted having no caveats was Super 7. They sent me this whole line of reaction Street Fighter figures and stuff, and I was like, only send me those if I can say whatever I want. And I wasn't harsh, but I was like, these 5 POA figures still have a little ways to go in the quality department and stuff like that. But then there was the infamous one where I didn't answer them back, And then I just made a video anyway, and that was the tubs people. So the tubs, they're like pop vinyls, but they're rubber ducks. And they sent me this inquiry. We want to send you these figures, and I hate pop vinyl. So when I saw these, I was even like, I was cosmically offended by what I was looking at. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I cannot believe that a company would not do its due diligence. And of course, it was some agency guy. So I decided, I was like, well, there's enough photos of these stupid things on the internet already because they're trying to sell them. So I've got all the material I need. I'm just gonna send them up. I know I roasted them, but you know, that's the freedom of being independent on YouTube and being real. You can do that, you know?
So, and I've seen you touched on this before, where it's like, sure, you're going to grow 10 times slower than the guys that accept and review absolutely everything. You're going to grow slower than them, without a doubt. But the audience that you're going to grow with will be 10 times more genuine than that audience. And I watch some of these guys that are over 500K subscribers, and in the first 24 hours, they're only getting 2K views on their videos. How, Sway? How? Like, that makes no sense. So I'm like, so either there was some purchasing of some subscribers going on, or your audience does not care about you. They do not engage with your content. They don't care about your content. It's usually one of those two things. But it's so funny to me because I'm like, okay, cool. You went up fast in the subs or whatever. It doesn't matter to me how many years it took, but your engagement shows me how much your audience actually values your opinion.
Right.
So when I see the engagement on a channel that's 500,000 subs in get 2,000 views, I'm like, oh yeah, that shows. That definitely shows how much their audience cares or values their opinion. And the companies know it and they see it too. The companies definitely know it and see it.
Oh yeah. I've always been the type, like, I know when I'm about to make a video that's just for me, or it's like something that I just want to talk about. I kind of know that video's not going to get as heavily trafficked. Like, so for example, when I want to talk about an old war film, or I want to talk about, you know, Doctor Who, I know those aren't going to be the videos that really engage people, but I just want to talk about it. And it's like, well, it's my channel, you know, not to sound like Cartman, but it's like, I can do what I want, you know? Uh-oh, did we lose your audio? Oh,
my bad. Sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and that's part of your channel being genuine. So when you do decide to speak on a product that you actually like, people are listening. People are actually paying attention because they're like, oh, wait a minute. He likes this. Why? It's not because they sent it to him for free.
Right.
I don't want to start to go down that route because I see what happens to those content creators that just accept any and everything. And they go to, and I'm like, dude, would you have really purchased these with your own hard-earned money if they weren't sent to you for free?
Right. No, they wouldn't have.
No, they wouldn't. But no matter what, anytime, and I've realized that now, like, so I have spent, I can't count. I love military figures, as you can see from my channel. So I can't count how much money I've already spent in Valiverse. But if he sends me anything for free, right, and I make a positive video about it, I'm automatically a show.
Right.
Which is automatically, which doesn't make any sense when you actually put it on paper, because I'm like, this is product from a company and a guy that straight up says, give it your worst, but I hope it's your best.
Yeah.
I'm not getting that from any other companies.
Sure.
Same with Ramen Toys, where they publicly commented, hey, not to show, we just want to hear your honest thoughts about it. If you're behind the product, can you help share the word? And companies don't do that.
Right.
Companies do not do that. So that's why I said, of course, Ramen's willing to send this vehicle. My channel almost thrives off of vehicle videos. If you see the views on my vehicle, I post up something on Amazon, it gets sold out. And so I'm like, okay, my channel, vehicles are really big on my channel. So if Ramen Toys sends me that and they're like, hey, but watch what you say and don't even send it.
Right.
Don't even send it. If your concept is, hey, but watch what you say, or make sure we green light it first before you go public. And no, I'm good then. Because then at some point I feel like you're trying to dilute or purchase my opinion. That's not gonna happen.
No.
So and I'm okay with the people that's like, oh well, Vala has purchased his opinion, or Vala, if that's what you guys think, that's okay. Because there is 10 times more people, genuine audience members that I have, that realize that's not the case. That realize, hey, I just like these fucking figures. Like, I think they're actually really good. Do they have their issues? Yes, every line has their issues. But even going all the way back to wave one, it was like, okay, this is the issue I ran into in wave one, but this line has so much potential, guys. I said that in wave one. I critiqued it, but I also spoke about the potential. And I see you do similar things with your content, where it's like, I'm not going to sit here and act like this is the golden standard of everything. But at the same time, I'm not going to shit on this either. There's so much. This is still really, really good, especially considering it's not from the billion-dollar company. This is really, really good. But it's like, there's no in between with people. They're like, oh, he got a free product. Oh, he's definitely not being honest about it. Or he's definitely a shiller. Dude, if people really knew the amounts of products that you said no to, the amounts of products that I said no to, if they only knew, oh my God. Oh my God. As opposed to these other channels. Oh my God.
Dude, like the best thing I ever did, I think in that respect, was ignore the solicitation for the Tubbs ducks and just do the roasting video, because I did it within like a day and a half of getting the solicitation. And then literally like a week and a half later, the people who unironically accepted their request were getting their samples and they were doing these review videos. But my video had already been out for a week talking about this shameless solicitation for these dumb collectibles. So it was really funny because people were coming back to me in the private messages. They were like, you're not going to believe it. X channel just unironically reviewed those, and they actually had them in the studio. They actually accepted the offer. And I'm like, welcome to toy collecting YouTube.
This is the toy politics. That's the toy politics that Ryan, and they're always touching on it, the 3POA, because it's just so funny. It is so funny. Just like, it's not that I have an issue. I don't have any issue with Super 7, but I just don't value their products at the price point that they're at. That's it. It doesn't mean that they're bad. It doesn't mean that they're good. I'm not buying them. So I don't really speak on them. When I look at the product and then I look at the price tag, I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll pass. But it's funny when I see all these channels, ironically or coincidentally, get the same Super 7 Power Ranger figures in, or the same Super 7 whatever Ninja Turtles in, and they're all saying the same thing, and they're all downplay the issues. They either downplay it or they don't speak on it at all. Like, and that is so funny to me. So funny. But hey, not my channel, not my circus, not my monkeys. I can't control how they choose to run their shit. I can't. I just sit back and I'm like, dude, do you feel genuine with yourself when you go to sleep at night? Like, do you? Like, and how do the companies really look at you when they know they can just buy your opinion? They can just purchase you.
It's bad enough when it's an action figure that's a product that fits into our demo, our collecting pie slice. But then when you see those same people trying to unironically hold up a rubber ducky like collectible that looks like Gandalf, and you're like, okay, we have crossed a bridge too far. You have shown us who you are. There is no coming back from this.
I didn't watch any of those videos, but after this, I'm probably going to type it on YouTube, because I just want to see some of these adults, these grown men, hold up this rubber ducky and talk about why it's so worth it. And now you have me interested.
It looks like Batman, but it's a rubber duck. It's so amazing. I can't. Really, dude? Really? Like, oh. Look, all I can say is if you look up those videos, go with God. That's all I can tell you. Like,
okay.
Jody Robles says, thank you for the super chat. He says, 3D printing is good, but it's so much work. I feel like 3D prints are better for miniatures and small accessories. That's very true.
Agree. Yeah, I agree with that. Shout out to Tony.
World Made a Cardboard, thank you for the super chat. He says, Gutenberg Press, modern home printer, TV studio 70 years ago, YouTube and phone video. 3D printer today, incredible tomorrow.
Right. He just summed up everything that we were saying, basically. And that's literally where we're going. 10 years, I can only imagine what it's going to be like.
Yep. It's going to be crazy. Ramen Toys says, I can share my personal experience dealing with some members of the Hasbro workforce. The people there mostly are looking for the next promotion. 100%. Yeah, which is crazy in an environment where you're probably just going to get laid off. Talk about gambling.
Right.
Cheers to Articulated Ninja for stepping up and posting that video to support Michael and other toy collectors who are standing up to the Hasbro and their minions. That was, like I said, humbling, touching. Is a moment in my life I'll never forget, for real. And
to be honest, I when I was making the video, I literally said to myself, Retro's so big. That guy is so fucking busy. Like he's gonna overlook this. He'll get back to me in Instagram because I sent you the link. Like, hey, and that's what I try to do. If I'm gonna talk about a content creator, or the least I'm going to do is reach out to them, be like, hey, I mentioned you during this video.
Right.
And that's what I did with you. I'm like, hey, I mentioned you during this video. I didn't get into specifics about you leading the charge or talking about this years ago. And I didn't mention that. It was just like, hey, I mentioned you during this video, and you got back to me like that right away. And I'm like, I was super surprised because I'm like, okay, well, he has always shown support in some type of way of my channel from years ago, whether it's comments, just random comments on my videos, letting me know. But I'm like, this dude's so busy, he's not gonna have time to watch this entire 20-minute video. And then sure enough, you did. So thank you for watching it, because I did not make that video trying to get or to befriend you. That's not what it was about.
I
That's
know
not what it was about.
I could tell from the moment I saw your first videos how real you were. So I never thought for a moment that you were trying to pander or anything like that. I could tell you've always had such genuine expression in what you want to do. And the thing that was touching to me about that video, since Impossible Pie brought it up, was the fact that behind the scenes for years, Tony and Sal and Ryan and a number of other people in the YouTube or the RetroBlasting group, they have all said that I'm the Captain America as far as determination, doggedness.
I believe that. Yeah.
So when I saw that, knowing that you hadn't had or been privy to those conversations, it was like, wow. So this is something that they saw and then you saw. And so it's not just them trying to like make me feel better, you know, like it's so that was a crazy moment for me.
And what goes in alignment with everything that you're explaining, like after I published the video, after it was out there, you know, I talked to Ryan often. I love that guy. But Ryan was the first one to message me after the video and be like, dude, you have no idea what this could possibly mean to some of these people in this video. Like you have no idea what this could mean to Michael. And then I'm like, well, assuming he even watches it, maybe he'll think it was a creative video. Maybe he think it's nice, but these are my feelings. He doesn't have to agree with them or he doesn't have to like them. But I'm like, if he watches it, I hope he likes it. But the way Ryan said that, now what you're saying, that was like, for me now, it's like, oh shit, because of all those conversations that you're talking about with you being Captain American, I had no idea. No idea. So of course, Ryan messaged me as soon as that video came out, like, dude, I don't know how you knew. I don't know. But this is the
number of people over the years that have sent me in response to things that have been happening. The number of people who've sent me the "I can do this all day" GIF, or you know, the one where it's like, before we get started, does anybody want to get out? You know, like all that kind of stuff. So when I saw that video, I was just like, oh my God. You know, even Melinda was just like, oh my God. Like I sent that video to my mom, and she was like, she called me back, like she couldn't believe it. She was just like, oh, she was genuinely like blown away by the video. Yeah. But yeah, it's really cool that there are a number of people holding their ground with their independent voice, of which you are one of the Justice League, you know, members of that, you know, that round table.
Yeah. I feel like we all sit at that table together, to be honest.
Yeah.
But and it's crazy because you're saying it's unbelievable. Maybe that video for you was also letting you know that, hey, there's a generation that really wasn't on YouTube that has been watching you.
Right.
Like we've been watching you. And a lot of these people don't reach out, have their own lives, but me, I'm like, okay, now that I'm doing YouTube, I'm not sure how valid. And I felt super good when I'm like, okay, a lot of these guys that I'm in alignment with morally and integrity wise, they're all for the most part pretty cool with each other. Nobody, but I didn't know that at the time. So I'm including all these people in my in that video. I'm including. So when Ryan reached out to me and basically let me know, like, yeah, like I love Michael. Like I love that guy. He's great. He's you know, a close friend. And that felt good for me because I said, okay, so I'm not the only one that feels this way about him. Right. And I'm not sure if prior to that video, you knew that, hey, there was going to be a generation that's now getting on YouTube or already on YouTube, and they've been watching you for years. I have been watching you for years. And that's how I always viewed your channel. So of course you have the people over here that pander, get anything for free. And I feel like majority of the audience are children. You have those people, right? And then you have you, and you have your audience and your people. And so as soon as I got into it, my girl was like, okay, well, if you had to name 3 YouTubers that help inspire the way you try to run the integrity on your channel, your name was always in that. So for me to actually have you watch the video and then have you reach out and then I'm like, holy shit, that's crazy. Because for me, I've watched this guy for years and I just always liked what he did. And it looked like from the outside looking in, it looks like he gets tired. It looks like he needs some help sometime. It
Yeah.
looks like this can weigh on him in ways that the public doesn't realize. You're
Mhm.
talking about, so, you know, you're going back and forth about these products and the HasLab in general, the idea of a HasLab in general.
Right.
And then it's not easy when you step away from that computer. Now you go relax on the couch with Melinda. It's not easy to turn that off.
No,
You
it's
know,
not.
she has to deal with that. She has
Mhm.
to, now she has the curse of trying to get you to enjoy the movie you guys are about to watch and get that out of your mind,
Right.
because it is an injustice. She knows why it's on your mind. She knows that it's bothering you or bothers you. And people don't realize genuine channels like ours, since we're not recording just for a check, since we're
Yep.
not, we really feel this way, whether the
Oh, yeah.
camera's on or the camera's off. And that shit sits with us when the
Yep.
camera's off.
Yeah, because it is, we're putting our personality out there. We're allowing ourselves to be vulnerable for a minute in front of a group of by and large faceless people. We don't know how many of them are going to react, and it does weigh on you when it swings back and hits you. I actually had, they'll remain nameless for the sake of diplomacy, I had a very large YouTube toy channel after your video came out. And I found myself in a conversation with this channel for another reason, but the conversation came around, and the person said how they wouldn't be comfortable because they didn't know my background. They didn't know anything about everything like you and I go through as independent YouTubers.
Right.
And they said I wouldn't be comfortable being depicted as Captain America or Black Panther. I wouldn't be comfortable with that. And I didn't say this, but my brain is very sarcastic, and so I almost said it. But what I wanted was on the tip of my tongue, where I was like, "Well, of course you wouldn't feel comfortable because you're nothing like those characters. You
Right,
don't
right.
internalize
You're
their value."
ultimately you're a sellout.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you wouldn't, no one would view you that way. So maybe you feel uncomfortable because you know you're not in alignment with that character that you're being portrayed as.
Yes.
I
Right.
don't have those issues. You know what I'm saying? I don't have you didn't have those issues when I put you as
Right.
captain. It's like, holy shit. If it didn't dawn on Retro before that he's a lot like this guy, maybe it'll dawn on him now. But
Right.
either way, this is how I see him. This is how I see his personality over the years of just watching. But now doing content creation and trying to be as consistent as I am with it, dude, you were going through some shit.
Oh,
Like, just straight up, you were going through some shit. And I can only imagine how tired you actually were, because now you're watching your quote unquote peers, people that have started around the same time as you, and they're growing like just
yeah.
super faster compared to you, but they're also advertising rubber duckies.
Yes.
And you're like, you're literally sitting back with Melinda and you're like, no, fuck that. Like, not gonna be me. I don't care how stressed out I get. I am not going to be known as the rubber ducky guy. Like, and yo, respect for that, because there's not too many of us around right now. And that's why I said I brought it up on 3POA, where I'm like, a lot of people give Talker Art a lot of shit, but ultimately at the end of the day, the way we all choose to deliver our messages may be very different,
Yeah.
may be similar, but it's the same message. It's
Yep.
the same thing. So, and I can't, the second that I said anything positive about Talker Art publicly, I can't count how many people were like, I'm unfollowing you, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I just sat there, left it on scene. But in my mind, I'm like, bye. Like,
Right.
it doesn't matter to me, because if you're gonna unfollow me, you're gonna say, oh, now you're just, you know, trying to shill for Michael, or you're shilling for Talker, or you should. No, these are men, and I am in agreement with how they feel about this topic. I am in agreement with the integrity that they have shown for years, that I have watched for years.
Right.
And even someone, and it's also, I don't think a lot of people consider this too, because we're not advertising the rubber duckies. We also rub a lot of people the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
And you have to keep this in mind when you're walking around Valicon, right? That random guy, that random commenter, he might walk up to you and he might have something negative to say to you. And you have no idea how confrontational he actually might try to be. But you're prepared for it.
Yep.
You're ready for it. And that's what happens when you say, I don't want to advertise the rubber ducky.
Yep.
I'm okay with going against the masses because it seems like for the most part, the masses are being sheep. Well,
Yes.
be very careful because when you walk around these cons, you're now surrounded by sheep. And
Yes.
it doesn't matter to me that it's a sheep, especially when they group up or they get together, similar to walkers. They're still pretty dangerous.
Oh yeah.
Even zombies that don't run, like the Walking Dead zombies, they don't run.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean I want to be dropped in a room with 100 of them.
Oh yeah.
They don't run, but they're still an issue, especially in groups, or men get liquor courage and things like that. And
Yep.
these cons, people don't realize. And that's why I said I wasn't interested in ever coming on any type of live
Mhm.
or coming on camera at all. I was 100% okay with using my avatar
Yep.
for years.
Mhm.
But when I seen that situation happen with Talk Art, and Talk Art, he didn't run from it. He didn't shy from it.
Mhm.
He was like, okay, I understand why you feel the way you feel.
Mhm.
What do you want to do about it? That
Yeah.
was ultimately his stance. Okay, I understand why you feel that way. I can leave some of the extra shit out. I'll start leaving that extra stuff out.
Mhm.
But now that we're here, what do you want to do about it? Like, other than me apologizing to you, how far do you want to take this? That's
Yep.
literally where Talker Art stood on. And I respected that.
Yeah.
But Talker Art wasn't like a lot of these other channels that hide their face.
Yep.
So Dan knew exactly who was walking into his booth. As soon as Talker Art walked in there,
Yep.
Dan looked at him, identified him, and there we go. Okay, now we're going to talk. Let the confrontation begin. Let the debate begin. And 9 times out of 10, I just hope that it's a healthy debate. It should just be, it couldn't be a healthy debate. But in the event that it's not, I didn't want to be that YouTuber that just dishes out criticism. But now I'm walking around Valicon and nobody knows what I look like. People that have an issue with me, people that disagree with me, people. I just think that's for me personally. That's like very scared behavior. Like, it
Sure.
looks like I'm scared of the confrontation of someone walking up to me. I'm not worried about shit. I'm not worried about anybody walking up to me. And that's why I was like, okay, I'm going to go live. And I had the conversation with my girl, and it's like, but I want to go live for retro first and then
Mhm.
3POA and
Right.
then scheduling that got swapped around.
Right.
And I'm like, but these are the only 2 channels I want to go live with. And then eventually Talk Artnet, people
Mhm.
that share my values, my
Yep.
morals, people that I'm in alignment with. Because ultimately, when I'm walking around these cons, and it's important for people to know what I look like, because I don't want to be the guy that talks shits but hides behind the camera,
Yep.
hides behind some picture slideshow. Don't do that.
I had
Don't
a
do that. I have no respect for that.
there's a big toy show that happens in Atlanta every March,
Mhm,
and it's coming up, obviously. Last year, my friend Scott Hughes, who's in the chat, he and I went to it together. We're going to go again this year.
mhm.
When we were there, short version of it is while I was there, Scott witnessed somebody walk up behind me while I was looking at a booth and point a toy gun at the back of my head. And
See,
right, and then there was a vendor.
what color was this toy gun?
It was thankfully it was a Power Rangers Dragon Blaster, so
Okay,
it
I
didn't
hope
look like
so,
a real gun,
because
but it was yeah.
yeah, because some BB guns look like real guns.
Yeah, but even Scott's point was he was like, even with it looking so unrealistic, we knew what he was doing, and that's not smart to do in a crowded space. Like, you really shouldn't
No,
do that. And
no, it's
then
not.
I went up to a vendor. Scott was standing right next to me, and I was really curious about this Masters of the Universe item that I'd never seen before. It was some Gentle Giant thing or something like that. And I asked the guy a question. He wouldn't make eye contact with me, and he kept looking at his phone. And then he finally, without ever making eye contact, he just kept muttering, "I don't want to talk to you." And I
Okay.
was like, I was just trying to find out who made this thing. And he goes, I'm not going to talk to you. He goes, I don't like you. He goes, and we don't get along, and I'm not going to talk to you. And he turned and walked away from his booth, leaving us standing there. And it was like, and the other vendors in the room were kind of like, what was that all about? I'm like, I don't know.
Right. It could have just been some random commenter that you've gone back and forth with.
Yeah.
It could have been, but at least he was able to recognize you. At least he was able to identify who you were. This way, I don't agree with him taking it like having to be that dramatic about it. It's not that
Right.
serious. Hey,
Right.
we disagree about toys or we disagree about the subject. You feel how you want to feel. I feel how I want to feel. That's it. Go about your day. I go about mine.
Right.
But at least he knew who you were.
Yep.
Like, so credit to you, because I don't think people realize when you're not like brainwashed like the masses, especially when you're
Mhm.
showing how you look walking around these cons, whether you're wearing a mask and you have an avatar look, or you just like you, it doesn't matter, because anybody that you debated with in the comments can walk up to you and point that toy gun.
Yep.
Now in your situation, good luck with that. Where I feel like if somebody walks up to me at Valicon, and I'm usually really, really aware of my surroundings because of the place that I had to grow up in. And I'm like, if I see that, or I'm going to react like it's a real gun. So for anybody thinking that that's a good idea to do, my advice to you is good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I did combat sports my whole life and then regular high school sport. And I'm like, yo, bro, good luck. But I am not going to act like it's not a possibility or act like it's not. It is. It very, especially with how close-minded and ignorant people are nowadays over some toys. Over toys.
Yeah.
So we disagree about toys, and then you start taking all these personal shots, whether you're calling somebody gay or you're calling them out their name, or all over toys, because we don't agree about the toys. And that's crazy. And that's just how it is. And I accept that. That's okay. But us walking around Valicon, it's like, it sucks that in the back of our mind, because of the times that we live in and the people we share these times with, it sucks that in the back of my mind, I'm looking forward to Valicon so much, because people like Jedi Hunter, Master Son, there's just so many people I'm so excited to meet, commenters that I've recognized their names for months and months and months, and they're always positive. I can't wait to see Melinda in person. I can't wait. I cannot wait to see it. And it sucks because at the same time, I'm so happy to be there and see that. I also have to be prepared to swing in a moment's notice.
Right.
I have to, because of the way people are nowadays. And it's sad that it's actually like that. Like,
you know, those old West tombstones that would say, "Here lies Lester Moore, 4 slugs from a 44, no less, no more," kind of stuff. I've always jokingly visualized my tombstone was going to say, "Here lies Michael French, shot because he threw shade at Buzz Off." You know, like
yeah,
you know,
shot because he didn't like the rubber ducky. Yep. yeah, man. It's crazy that we live in times like this. And then another thing that scares me, I'm watching my wording because I don't want YouTube flag certain words.
Right.
But I'm watching but another thing that scares me is you see all the things that happen. In my mind, I'm like, I see all the things that happen at these public schools. With kids putting stuff in their book bag that they should not have in their book bag, right? So you see all the stuff that happens at all these random public schools. I'm telling you, I don't want this to be the case. I absolutely, but it's only a matter of time before at like a New York Comic-Con, and then once it does, the complete dynamic of that event moving forward for the future, for all events like it, will be totally different. Because I'm watching these cosplayers. I go to New York Comic-Con. I watch these cosplayers walk in on like stilts and like a big Hulkbuster Iron Man suit, and security walks up to them with a little metal detector, and they're like, "Dude, like, what do you want me to do? Like, how can I literally check you? Just go in." Yeah. It's only a matter of time before that person that just goes in does something very ignorant and irresponsible, and then it ruins it for all of us. For all of us.
And I'm glad that they have security measures in place at a lot of those events to try and mitigate
at least some, try to mitigate it, like you said.
And like I said, you know, the toy show stuff has always been just fine. Ultimately, it's just that because I'm, you know, not the mainstream opinion, people have gotten, you know, like grumpy with me.
That's to say it in a nice way, grumpy, because I've seen some of the comments, I've seen some of the, and in my mind, anytime if I'm in alignment with you and I advertise that, or I'm in alignment with something Talk Art says, or I advertise that, and then I get people in my DMs like, you know, I've followed you, Ninja, for months, but the fact that you're cool with this guy and he's a piece of shit guy, I have to leave. Okay, leave. It's like your experience with them is not my experience with them. So what do you want me to do? Do you just want me to take your experience at face value with no evidence? I'm sorry, I don't live my life that way.
Right, exactly. So unless you have their criminal history.
Exactly. Show me the charges. Show me what they went to jail for. Show me something. Show me receipts, evidence, something. Like,
oh man, Jeff McElwee, thank you for the super chat. He says people can tell when folks talking about a product are full of shit or not. It's why I like both your channels.
Thank you.
Yep. And let's see. I think we have one right here. Thank you for the super chat. Maximilian says it's pretty easy to spot the independents and the ones who are getting press releases or buying items stolen from the factory. They got it first. They got it first. Posters. Yeah. That's very true. Just making sure that we're caught up on this. because okay, we have one here from Analog Toys. Me,
Hey,
Michael, Lio, and number of others have been fighting from the same trench for years, and when reinforcements arrive in the form of articulated ninja, it is extremely welcome. Thank you for being you.
dude, that video that he posted, I don't know if you've seen it with me coming down the street and being reinforcements, and that video meant so much to me, man. That literally, like, I felt like when you spoke about, watching my video, Melinda seeing it, and that's how I felt when, my girlfriend looked at me when she seen that video and she see me come, she was like, this is just awesome. Like, there's just certain moments and feelings that you can't replace because you feel valued or appreciated.
Yeah.
And I seen you in the comments talk about that, where it's like, oh, well, why does articulated ninjas validation mean so much to you anyway, Retro?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong?
Validation.
What?
It's like everybody deserves validation in their life for something.
And who says so much? This is one person that shined a positive light on who I am as a person or something that they're in alignment with. And it's like, it's bad, right? Come on.
Well, that's the irony. See, that's the irony. They've always wanted me to be more. They think I'm negative. I'm not. I'm critical. I'm not negative.
Right.
I have been negative about HasLab, but that's a whole other thing. But I'm okay with that because my criticism went negative and I hate HasLab. Anyway, so they said they wanted me to be more positive about stuff writ large. Well, the most positive thing you can do is thank another person in the community and say how much that video meant to you and touched you and everything like that. And what's their first reaction? Why do you need that validation?
Yeah, there's a negative there too. You're never going to make you can't make everybody happy. So it's like the best bet is to just be yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And in my mind, I'm saying, okay, so if I'm going to be myself, I need to choose whether I want to promote the rubber ducky or not. Super simple. Like, people are gonna hate me regardless. But am I gonna hate myself when I go to sleep? That's what really matters.
Oh, and you will. As your head hits the pillow, you'll just hear the faintest of
Yep. That's it.
Master Son, thank you for the super chat. He says Michael has bodyguards. No worries on people messing with him. Appreciate that. I've always joked that I'm never going to truly be Captain America because there's no super soldier serum. I literally am Steve Rogers, even in my mid 40s. That's what I look like. And then Godzilla Master says, once I said that a Bondi product sucked and a guy asked me, quote, you want to wake up inside of a bag? Geez, the toy discourse is insane right now. Yeah, it really is. Matt O'Brien, thank you for the super chat. He says, good evening, guys. Just wanted to say thank you for putting out such fantastic content. I've been subscribed and watching since I found out about you both a few months back. You are outstanding voices in the community. Matt, very kind, sir. You're very welcome. The Shooter says, do either of you see inflation changing the toy collecting world? In my industry, firearms, we're starting to see major impacts. Maybe a good thing.
Maybe in that industry, as far as firearms are concerned, and I'm not against firearms either. I feel like they're good depending on the situation or the circumstance. But as far as toys are concerned, I don't think it's good at all. Like, I don't think there's any real good that's going to come from it. I just see negativity coming from inflation, especially the fact that certain companies want to act like inflation is 10 times worse for them than it is for other companies.
Yep.
Because we're watching other companies keep their prices moderately low or maybe moving up by $1.
Yep.
Meanwhile, other companies are almost double the price now.
Yeah, so you're right. Inflation in this regard is only going to continue to implode certain franchises and collector bases at the same time. Eric Alfred, thank you for the super chat. He says, confrontation lets us know where we stand in this world. I fear for those who cowardly make gestures behind your back. Here in Texas, the outcome may not be what they think it will be.
It's funny. We were just talking about firearms, and he says here in Texas.
Laser Pants, thank you for the super chat. He says, how does it feel to know that a certain rubber Kendra is watching this right now with unmoisturized ashy ass hands?
I don't care, man. I honestly don't care. And I feel like that's a whole thing within itself, because once I realize that either I have a problem with someone or I don't like their content, I don't like maybe what they represent in their content, I no longer care to watch them.
Right.
I no longer care to base content around them. I no longer care. I don't watch them. I'm like, how miserable would my life be if I had to keep up with everybody that I supposedly don't like? Watch every live stream of everybody that I hate. Watch it. I can't. What?
I know, right?
Yeah. No. Once I realize certain toy groups are not for me, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm done watching that podcast,
Right.
because I realized, hey, this toy group is not for me.
Yeah.
This group of people, or this person, or this content creator, once I'm like, okay, they need to go their way, I'm gonna go my way. That's usually what I keep it as. But as far as the guys that literally run a channel based off of drama, or based off of shit talking, or based off of, bro, good luck with that, man. We'll see where you're at in 5 years.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I've been waiting for the day. Carl Sweisgood says it's unfair that Michael, the same guy who did a wonderful video about Spice Girls toys, is labeled as being negative. Thank you, Carl, for pointing that out. Bizarro world where truth equates to negativity. Finally, we have 2 more super chats here. The truth, thank you, Embargo. The truth always outshines the fakers. That's why when your channels say something, I listen. Keep up all the good work, and see everyone at Valicon.
See you there.
And Wolfie, thank you for the super chat. He says, loving this conversation, gentlemen. Here's to the outstanding growing community. Can't wait to see if Articulated Ninja will have something cool for Iconicon 2023. And then we have one more from Matt O'Brien. Thank you so much. He says, laser pants and analog toys in the chat too. Bunch of toy celebs in here, LOL. Crazy to think that 2 adults cannot just have a difference of opinion without getting to the point of violence. Well, thankfully,
that's crazy.
Yeah, thankfully, so far, there has been none. But there have been enough.
And I don't. Yeah. Right. And let me make it clear. I don't want there to be.
Me neither.
So I don't want there to be. Absolutely not. Whether it's someone that I'm having a disagreement with, or it's a similar scenario with the kid putting something in his backpack and it's just a random person that wants to do something random. I don't want there to be, because I know it's going to change the community and the climate and everything forever.
Right.
Forever. The moment it happens, things will never be the same at any con. Whether it's New York or it's Valicon, things will never be the same. I would be surprised if you're even allowed to dress up anymore. Oh, and that's part of the reason why people love to go to these events.
Yep.
Is to connect with cosplayers, to see all the people walking around and take pictures with people. And I would be super surprised. But I don't want there to be violence. What I'm saying is, even though I don't want there to be, if there is, I also don't run from that either. That's not me as a man. That's not who I am. Similar to, does anybody want to step out this elevator before we get started? That's how I feel about it. So whether I'm at Valicon or not, if someone walks up, we can disagree about a topic, and I will talk about it. We can talk about it. And maybe at the end of that discussion, we can agree to disagree.
Right.
There should be no reason for it to escalate past that. But if it does, be very, very careful.
I have found that most people are courageous behind the keyboard, and 100%. Then even if they're still kind of snarky or douchebaggy in person, they do kind of they create more distance instinctively. They don't really escalate, but like we've said, it's like it hasn't happened, and we hope it never happens. But there's nothing wrong with being positive while also keeping your head on a swivel. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Because that's a good way to word it, because there's a lot of people that stay positive and they act like it can't happen or it's not in the cards. No, I'm aware of it happening, and my thing is good luck, especially at a place like Valicon, where you got somebody, I don't know who. It's possible for someone to get the dumbass idea to attack a Justice League member at Valicon. The rest of the league members are here, you idiot. Why would you think that it's a good idea at Valicon or any con where there's multiple league members in one place? You really think Ninja's gonna stand by and watch Michael get into a one-on-one? Oh no, it's gonna be a 2-on-1 super fast. There's no options for tag teams. I'm not waiting. Like, bro, that's why I said good luck.
I love meeting people that know me from the channel, and I love talking to people, and thank goodness that 99% of my interactions in person with people have just been wonderful. They've been just the greatest conversations and everything. But at this particular event in Atlanta last year, that was the first time that I really encountered some antagonism. And it's like, well, I just need to be mentally prepared this year when I go. Matt says, don't have much, but would like to help contribute to both of your channels. Either of you have a Patreon or something? Well, that's very kind, Matt. My Patreon is in the link, the description, which also has a direct link to Articulated Ninja's channel.
Eventually I'll get on to Patreon once I feel like I have more content and I bring more value. A lot of people tell me I already bring enough value to be on Patreon, but I want to bring more. So once I do, I have to get that set up. And
Yeah.
looking at the chat, it's so funny. But the cute fluff, they put me too with the little fist emoji. But the fact that the name is cute fluff made me laugh.
Yeah.
Then it's a little fist. It's like
Cute Fluff is a
She's ready.
beloved Cute Fluff is a beloved regular of the retroblasting audience.
They're ready. They are ready.
And we love Cute Fluff. Master Son 42, thank you. He says, I don't want something to happen because I'll have to explain. You punched him because he said Bionic 6 was crappy, and then I say, yes, he deserved it. or no, somebody else punched me because I said it was crappy. Do you really want to get into a fight over a toy? That's the whole thing. Nobody should get into a fight over a toy. Remember, it's about toys.
Right. And that's what it should always be, is over a toy. But then you have ignorant people that step over the line and make it more than about toys.
Right.
Now they're talking about you as a person, what you stand for, how you are. And I'm like, dude, you passed toys 5 blocks ago, bro. You passed toys. Stop while you're ahead before I stop you. Stop.
Right.
It's sad that people go past that.
Yeah. It's like, we're talking about action figures and we have a disagreement. There's no need to bring in reputation and character assassination. And there's certainly no need to bring in family members into the argument.
Family members, gender, sexual preference, all these things. Why are we doing that?
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about products here. Like, luxuries.
And it's one thing if it's a joke, but some things, when something's not said in a joking manner. You just know it. You know when a person is intentionally really trying to hurt you. Now, I know Talker Art, he says a lot of jokes, and some of them I even tell him, I'm like, dude, that joke was kind of out there. That joke was kind of far. And he stands his fucking ground. And he's like, yeah, but that's just me. And that's what I respect. But he doesn't, it's not a real personal attack. I know a personal attack when I see one or when I hear one. And it's sad that some people really do that. And then the shade as far as being real on YouTube, because I'm trying to stay with we're having good convo, so I'm trying to stay with the topic of tonight. But then the shade, I watch these content creators when what does Hasbro call it? The steel whatever? Steel force? Steel corpse. Yeah. Okay. So then it's funny. I'm watching all these creators now take shots at Vala, but these same creators, they never want to address him publicly.
Right.
Address it publicly. Whatever your issue is with him, address it publicly. If you really about that life and you're really that type of man, because Talker Art was prepared for Dan to do a backflip karate kick. Like what we were talking, he went up close and they had a conversation, and he left the conversation saying, okay, well, where do we go from here? What do you want to do about it? A lot of these guys, like you said, they're keyboard warriors. Yes. So now I see them at a con and they just quietly walk around me. And they see me, they know me. I have my logo on my sweater. I have it on the back. Valacon, I'm having it in the front. And I've watched them in my comments, or I watched them throw a bunch of shade or talk shit about me. But then in person, guess what they do? They stay absolutely quiet.
Yep.
Why? What's the point then, bro?
Like, a lot of them are they have keyboard courage, and that's really about it. Their courage comes from their ability to throw a grenade and run.
Right. And you got to be careful with that, because there's men like us, there's men like Talker Art, where Talker Art doesn't throw the grenade and run. He walks up to you and hands it to you.
Right. And he says, he dangles the pin.
Right. And he's like, so what's going to happen now?
Right.
Be very careful who you choose to talk shit about.
Right. Yes. 100%. Jeff McElwee, thank you for the super chat. He says, see, if both your channels were Lego related, it'd just be passive aggressiveness, no threats of violence, just lame nerds being nerds. Well, I've got another Lego video coming, Jeff, and it's about the Lion Knight's castle, which I think you'll appreciate. So, well, everybody, I promised. He didn't ask.
It's okay.
He didn't ask.
It's okay.
Okay. I promised that normally our shows run 90 minutes with a 30-minute buffer. We've clearly run right past that while we were talking. So
I'm still good if you're good.
Okay, so you're still good. Okay.
Yeah.
I do not want to exploit your kindness. So
nah, it's okay. I appreciate you caring, but you, and the same thing I said on 3POA, you guys are like family. So it's fun. And here, I loved your comment. We're talking about the therapy session. That's what this is. And it allows so many people to hear the thoughts of a content creator. Usually I'm just trying to be positive and talk about the figure or the product that I have in a video that I love so much. But there's so much bullshit that goes on behind the scenes. There's so much little passive aggressive males. I don't, majority of my audience, and I assume for you too, they're all males. So, but there's so many passive aggressive males that I'm like, dude, how do you even have a wife with this type of energy?
Yeah.
Honestly, because
Right.
you're so passive aggressive. You're so, do you directly handle anything? Do you anything? Because there's just so many little subliminals and shots taken. And it's like, just say my name. If you have a problem, say my name. We can talk about it. We can figure it out. Or we cannot figure it out. You go your way, I go mine. And if you
Right.
have to run a channel based off of talking shit about someone else personally, I feel bad for your channel or your content. And that might be why you grow so slow.
Right.
Because that there's no real talent, there's no real anything to your channel. If I have to remove a lot of these people that have channels just talking negatively about any brand, McFarlane, Hasbro, Mattel, it doesn't matter. If that's what your channel thrives off of, is controversy and just drama and shit talking, and dude, the second I take that away from your channel, nobody's there, nobody's watching.
Yeah.
And it's just like a car crash. Everybody wants to see the car crash, so they look, but it doesn't mean they like you, relate to you, care about you. None of that. They're just looking to see some drama. They don't actually like you or care about you. Your engagement is low when you're not talking about drama. And that's why, because nobody really cares about you or your channel if you're not shit talking.
Right. And it's funny you bring that up, because the other day, I guess it was like, it might have been yesterday. I get the days blended together, but there's a YouTuber who's like big into comic books. His name's Young Ripa. And he did a video just addressing the audience, and he's got like 500,000 subscribers or something crazy.
God damn.
And
Yeah.
and he was just talking about that very thing, where he was like, hey guys, I know that I engage my haters, and you guys always want things to stay positive. He goes, but what's funny is, he said, all the videos I do about comic lore and stuff, they get good views. But all the videos I do of the call-in shows engaging and monetizing my haters, they're the ones you guys watch in droves. So even though you want all this positivity, you don't show up for it. You show up for the drama,
Right.
which I was like, wow, that's, that's pretty telling. Right. Yeah. Travis Fitzgerald, thank you so much. He says, RetroBlasting, great show as always. Only found you after 3 POA, but catching up on a lot of your stuff. Love it. Definitely subscribe. Well, thank you, Travis. Very kind. Appreciate that. All right. Well, we really are caught up on all this finally. So I don't want to keep you if you don't want to stick around.
No,
or you,
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm 100% good. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I would like to ask you is kind of like a final umbrella topic is, where would you like to see your channel go? And I don't mean this like an interview question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't mean it like that. What I mean is, what are the projects that, and you don't have to be specific, you don't have to like tip your hand, but what are the areas you're wanting to foray into with your content, and where would you like to take the Articulated Ninja channel, over the next, say, 18 months?
Okay. 18 months is better than, let's say, 10 years. So in the next 18 months, I do want to set up a Patreon at some point. And I feel like it's important, especially now, to build a genuine fan base or genuine audience with like-minded people.
Right.
This way, let's say 5-10 years from now, if I ever choose to decide to make a product or have a product or anything like that, at least my audience know, hey, this guy doesn't promote rubber duckies. That will help, right? Look, listen, that's going to help, right? When I'm actually talking about my action figure, right? Because people know, okay, this isn't a rubber ducky guy. So, and I think a lot of channels, I feel bad because I feel like a lot of them weren't thinking about how important the integrity of their channel was when they said yes to a lot of things, when they said yes to a lot of products from companies, right? Where I'm saying no to almost any and everything that I'm not willing to spend money on myself. I'm saying no to it. But the reason I'm saying no to it is because I'm thinking 5-10 years from now, when we all make enough money to get Valor to make a box set of all of us as Justice League members. Think about that product. That I'm thinking about that box set because I can picture the names: Retro, the White Potato, Articulated Ninja. I can picture the names on that box set. That box set is going to be super exclusive, bro. So I'm like, what's important before I even get to that box set is making sure that I remain genuine on my channel and I just keep sharing the stuff that I'm actually passionate about. Because I am also passionate about a lot of injustices that I see at Hasbro, and But if I'm only making HasLab type of videos,
right,
come on, man. Like it's just it gets to that point where now I'm one of these channels that are known and only get views for negative things.
right.
I want people to be able to come to my channel and be like, yo, let me just escape potato power. Let me just I want people to watch my videos and be like, yo, I want to Articulated Ninjas videos help me get away from all the BS.
Yeah.
Not Articulated Ninjas videos remind me or indulge me into more BS.
Right.
Majority of people, especially action figure collectors, they don't collect action figures to be stressed out. They're collecting action figures to get away from the daily stresses.
Yep.
Because we're spending our hard-earned money on these products. And if honestly opening up this figure made you unhappy, why did you buy it? Why did you pay for it? So of course I can make a passionate video about why I'm pissed off that Zorana's arm is the way that it is, but it's because I was looking forward to that figure. I'm not one of these content creators that's just talking shit 24/7 on my channel. Thrives off of drama or shit talking, and I'm not buying stuff that I'm only going to talk shit about.
Right.
Sometimes the stuff that I buy that I'm expecting to like, I run into issues with it. And then I talk about those issues, but it's still stuff that I was looking forward to. And it kills me how many grown men will continue to buy products and supposedly not like those products. And why are you buying them? Why are you spending your money? Why are you giving your time? Our time on this planet is already so limited. I'm not a religious person. So since I'm not a religious person, I'm trying to make the most of the short amount of time that I have here.
Right.
So I don't want to spend that amount of time going back and forth with some random guy, and I don't want to spend my time doing that.
Yep.
So and I don't want to spend my time on my channel making another negative place for people to go to, because there's already so much negativity in the world. I want it to be a positive place. I want people to look forward to and be like, damn, I don't even like the figure, but I like the way he presented it. Sure. I hate the figure, but I had good feelings watching his videos. That's what I would like to be known for. Let's say 18 months from now, I want to continue to be known for the guy that makes videos that help people escape.
Right.
That's what I do it for.
See, that's gold, man, because I always wanted to be the channel that entertained, but what I miscalculated on was that I think sarcasm is funny. And then I miscalculated that a lot of people don't find sarcasm funny, but now I'm already committed. So it's like, well, I'm just going to keep going with it. But in the same vein, you know, I want people to have fun on my channel, like, enjoy themselves.
And I think for the most part, a lot of people do. So usually, let's say your regular videos, I like your regular videos. And that's why I'm like, there's no way this guy doesn't script this stuff, because when he sits in that chair, whether you're sitting in the chair when the camera starts or you come and you sit down in the chair. I believe there was a few times I watched you come and sit down into the chair while the camera was rolling. And I said to myself, the second I see that chair, the second I see some product on the table, I'm like, he's about to murder somebody again. Like it's just automatic. Well, I'm like, dude, the stuff he says is so fluent and you're doing it in front of the camera. And I'm like, this just looks like one take. So how long did he have? Like he had to write down a few paragraphs of his most important feelings, memorize it, sit down and make sure he spoke on it. And then I'm sure there's a lot of times when that camera's on, you also wind up saying things that weren't a part of the script.
Right.
And maybe some of those things get you some heat too.
Oh,
but
sure.
You still say them. Exactly. You still say them.
Sure.
And I respect that. But dude, your videos, I think everybody, even the videos where you're critiquing, they're still entertaining. And the way that you word things and the examples you bring up, and it's like no other. So now I said to myself, when I'm creating my videos, I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to just focus on talking, because I'm not going to talk better than Retro. And so now I need to talk.
But please go ahead.
Look, so now I was like, okay, so now I need to talk, but I also need to have eye candy while I'm talking. Retro talks so good, he doesn't fucking need eye candy. That's how he built a platform off of how well he just talks. He didn't need no eye candy. I need eye candy. So, and I'm not always talking about my thick action figures. I love my thick female action figures, but I'm talking about those crisp, clean shots of the Black Panther. I'm talking about those shots. I need visual stuff at the same time. So I want it to be visually appealing, but then also mentally connecting and mentally appealing as well. So I'm trying to do a mix of so much. But when I watched the man-child news, because I had no idea about it, I don't know how I was missing it. And I'm sure you get those comments too, where YouTube you'll subscribe to someone and you'll even set notifications, and then all of a sudden you're not no more. All of a sudden the notifications aren't set. Well, it happens all the time. So I'm like, I go back into the library. I'm like, how many of these man-child news videos have I missed already? So I was lucky because I got to binge a couple of them back to back. Well, a lot of other people don't. But then once I made it to my last one, I hit that moment. I'm like, fuck, like there's not another one to watch.
Look, I know that feeling too well when you finally find a YouTuber, another YouTube channel that you click with, and you just burn through their content. And then you catch up with their present day, and it's like, oh, now I'm just waiting, you know.
I think they call it, like on Netflix, you see commercials. It's called the show hole. It's like you reach the show hole, and there's no more shows left to watch. I'm telling you, man, when I first seen that man-child news, and that was last week, I had no idea it even existed, because it's a video you only post once a month. So there's so many other videos I see, I like, I comment on, or I watch. And I just missed the man-child. And then when I first seen it, I said to myself, this is pure fucking gold. Like, why is he not doing this every week? Don't listen to me. If it was my way, I would want you to do it every day. You're not a slave. You can't be.
No, what's going to happen now is everyone's going to say, see, Articulated Ninja also wants it once a week, and we now have his buy-in. So we're gonna, oh damn, yeah.
Nah, you gotta let the other news channel. So I'm gonna start a news thing too, but it's gonna be nowhere near, nothing like the. I am now looking forward to every month knowing that I see man-child news this month. Like, I like being able to say that in my mind now, because it's entertaining, it's fun. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start doing weekly news videos. But one of the reasons why I'm doing news videos is because, let's say, because of toy politics, people like the Foosh and other people, and they refuse to talk about Action Force. They don't want to, or they can't. And I'm like, dude, I don't care whether it's Action Force or it's a company that I don't like that, like Super 7. If Super 7 fixes their prices and starts to put out what I feel like is good quality figures, something worth me purchasing, I'll talk about it. Why not?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the problem with the community, is like, everybody, you know, these other YouTubers, they just don't want to talk about certain things because of the toy politics. But it's like, but if you're a news channel, why are you denying your audience information about this product that you probably do like, that you revealed in the past that you actually do like? But you don't want to talk about it because of politics. No, on my news videos, once I start them, it's only going to be about figures that I'm willing to spend my money on. And I'm a very selective buyer. So it's not going to cover as much as the Foosh, and it's not going to cover. What I love about the man-child news is that it covers everything for the month. I'm going to know about what's happening in movies. I'm going to know about what's happening at Hasbro. I'm going to know about all that stuff, because you cover everything. And when I watch it, I say to myself, dude, this guy didn't sleep. Like, when it comes time for you to do the man-child news, I'm like, that day that he starts editing, and I'm like, if you put all those hours in, like, total, I'm like, he probably didn't sleep, because you're not just covering figures. Like, you just can't go to Big Bad Toy Store and be like, hey, what came out this week? No, you have to look at everything.
And even then, there are people who are like, how come you didn't put this in for this month or whatever? And it's like, I always tell them, I'm like, well, there was a lot to choose from, and I picked what I thought would be the funniest. Like, I kind of, you know. So it's a whole thing. Greg Fenstead has a question for you. He says, Articulated Ninja, are there any properties you have loved that you would love a modern $20 to $35 figure line with sculpt and articulation quality like Action Force Legends or Mythic Legions?
Mythic Legions, I don't talk about Mythic Legions enough. I do like Mythic Legions a lot. I think they're a really good brand. I have had some videos on my page about Mythic Legions. I can't wait to have more, because they're doing skeletons. I love skeletons. So I can't wait to get those figures in. But this question, it's not that I can't answer it honestly. I can't answer with everything that comes to mind, because we'll be here for another 2 hours. So if I had to pick, it's such a good question. Thank you, Greg, because it is such a good question. If I had to pick, there was a cartoon when I was younger. There's so many, but one of the first ones that come to mind, it was a cartoon called Mummies Alive. It was a cartoon, right? And I think it was like a Fox Saturday morning cartoon or whatever. I could think about Mummies Alive. I could think about Static Shock. Somebody brought up Afro Samurai. There's just so many IPs, so many, where I'm like, damn, that would look really, really nice. So when NECA announced the Gargoyles, I was like, dude, I didn't have to wait 50 years the way some other people had to wait. I didn't have to wait. I'm lucky enough that I have family members that they're men in their 50s and 60s. How long did they have to wait to see Thor on screen live action? And that's their favorite hero. And
Yeah.
how long did they have to wait to see that? With me, however, I just had to wait 10 years after being introduced to the character. Damn, I'm lucky. Damn, I'm so lucky. But I would say Mummy's Alive. What about you, Retro? What
I've
lines
always
come to
wanted
mind?
what I've always wanted to see, and this is so esoteric for an American and or Western/European audience, so it might not happen. We'd be importing them like crazy if it happened. I would love for them to do a commemorative 6-inch scale Golden Harvest Productions figure line, where we're getting all of those classic kung fu heroes and villains from across cinema. So, like, I mean, who wouldn't want an action figure of the one-armed boxer? Or who wouldn't want an action figure of, Jackie Chan, or from one of his classics like Super Cop, or Michelle Yeoh Jackie Chan from Operation Condor, and then Michelle Yeoh from like Magnificent Warriors or Yes Madam or something like that. Like,
now, can we include in that umbrella? Can we include what you said, Jackie Chan? Can we include characters like Jet Li and stuff like that as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Dude, that line, that would be ridiculous. That would be because these are all things that nobody has on the shelf. Unless you pay to get a custom commission, nobody has that stuff on the shelf.
No.
We're lucky if we get an occasional Bruce Lee. And then we're lucky if we get an occasional Bruce Lee inspired character like Fei Long from Street Fighter. I'm looking forward to that. Can't wait to get another Fei Long action figure. But Fei Long is really supposed to be who? So, but that's a great example because we don't have that. Jackie Chan, Jet Li, these types of characters. Basically, what if everybody that featured, what was that movie where they put all these badasses in one movie? Jet Li, Sylvester Stallone.
The Expendables.
Right. So imagine a line like that with all these badass characters all across, like you said, just errors, and that would be dope.
Oh man, I would love a classic Hong Kong cinema action figure line. Like, can you imagine having Chow Yun Fat from Hard Boiled with both the pistols? And oh my god, dude, it would be so great. That would be my dream. My dreams are small because they're so huge they'll never happen. I don't know.
You know what?
Science
because you said that, because you said your dream, my dream became close to almost being. But when I was young, I thought I was going to be either an archaeologist or a paleontologist. When I seen that Jurassic Park Hammond collection, that T-Rex, oh my god, literally, I was in, me and my girlfriend in multiple Targets trying to find it, but that T-Rex was no joke.
Oh yeah,
no joke. Like, so if I could have anything, imagine a 1/12 scale or a 6-inch scale Jurassic Park, or just dinosaur. It doesn't have to be the IP Jurassic Park, but just a dinosaur line that's 6-inch scale.
Yeah.
Not us trying to finagle with, foreground shots and something that isn't really 6-inch, but imagine a 6-inch scale. That would be crazy.
The closest one they came to was that one. I think they've remade it. They've redecoed it a few times, but it was called like the Jumbo Tyrannosaurus or whatever. And it, I have the first edition of that from the Jurassic World line that you got it at Target. And it's so big. It's oversized for 3 3/4 inch. It's massive.
Yeah.
But I've always looked at it and gone, because another line I would love to see finally done is an expansive 6-inch scale Tomb Raider line. I'd be like, oh, if I could get some 6-inch scale Hammond Collection Raptors to go with this T-Rex. Oh man, and have Laura standing there with the guns, like,
right. And Laura in different outfits too, because she has so many nice different outfits. So it's just like, so you brought up that T-Rex, and it is large, but it's not articulate. Imagine if it was articulated like that. Oh my god.
Granted,
oh my god.
For certain shots of photography, though, I think you could kind of fudge it and get away with it.
Yeah, you can.
KBA, thank you for the super chat. He says, I'll take honest criticism over shilling rubber ducks any day of the week. And then Jason Anderson says, if someone can get me down there, I will gladly stand next to Michael, silently wearing a suit and dark sunglasses, occasionally holding my finger to my ear and reaching into my sport.
That was a good way to word that.
Yeah. Let's see. We have Tony Robles. Question: Ninja, what would be the best comic book toy line, and why is it Static Shock with his whole Rogues gallery? I'd love a whole specific Static or Batman Beyond toy line.
So he asked, what would be the best? and he basically said my first two answers. So
Oh,
I hope he does go to Valicon so I can meet him. Because I the first thing that came to mind was like Batman Beyond, even though that was based off of the animated series and the comic books. They look the artwork in them looks really nice. But Static, definitely, I would love for there to be a Static Shock.
yeah.
Just toy line in general. And I love growing up as a kid. There wasn't a lot of white and black people that were portrayed to be best friends on scene. And Static Shock, which was Virgil, and I forgot the name of his friend, but it was a black kid with dreads and a white kid with blonde hair, complete opposites. And these kids were willing to die for each other when their backs were on the wall. I thought it was beautiful when I was growing up to see something like that.
Yeah. 757 Hustle Show. Thank you for the kind super chat. He says, great conversation tonight. Articulated Ninjas legit. Fans doing the best work. Motu aliens.
Thank you.
And Ramen Toys says, RetroBlasting, what you just envisioned is what collectors want, but then you have all the red tape with licensing and rights. Look, Ramen, I agree with you, but I'll do whatever it takes to get my Cynthia Rothrock China O'Brien action figure. So, well,
you know what?
What's that?
I think Ryan would agree. But I would love to have a 6-inch scale highly articulated in all of her appearances. So no matter what she appeared in, I would love to have a Xena. The Xena show. Remember Xena, Hercules, but I would love to have a Xena line, and I would love to get Gina Carano in a 6-inch scale. Actually, that would be, she might be like my Thickie of the year. It might go to her, Gina Carano. That would be amazing.
Did you ever get the Black Series?
Yes, I did. Yep.
Okay.
Before the price got crazy.
Right.
I got one. Yeah. And it looked like her in the face, but it wasn't everything. It wasn't perfect. But I would also like to have her in like her MMA gear. That would be badass.
Oh, yeah. Something that's more about her as herself as the fighter rather than,
Yes. Yeah.
With that, everybody, we are now 2.5 hours into this stream. I promised. By the way, Pit Stain Hobbies, to answer your question, I've not been asked to do a panel this year at Toylanta, but I will be there. So come up and say hi. I promised that I would not go as long as 3 POA, and with that, I think that for now, in order to preserve my relationship with Articulated Ninja,
it's okay. It's all right. If you have more stuff you want to talk about, we can, but I'm actually having fun. This therapy session is good. Yeah. I'm not worried about it.
Okay, well, he has just prevented the Jeep from getting on the exit ramp again.
That's it. If there's any more questions anybody wants or has, or
does anybody have any more questions
before we end?
Any more questions for Articulated Ninja? Now is the time. Throw them into the chat. He's open. So everyone's yelling extend. Encore. What is Jason Anderson, what is your perfect Sunday?
Any Sunday that doesn't involve any drama. So especially a Sunday, because we don't get action figures delivered on Sunday. You know what I'm saying? That sucks. So I can't necessarily say, maybe if you save a figure from the week and you open it on Sunday, that'll probably be a really good Sunday. And the figure the arms don't pop off right out the box.
Right.
That's a peaceful Sunday. That's chill. Like,
yeah. Oh, by the way, I happened to get that Zarana. That's a bomb drop for everybody here because generally I avoid G.I. Joe classifieds.
Wow.
Not because of wave 1. I was like, really, guys? This is what you're doing? But I found that with my Zarana, the arm came right off when I popped her out of the bubble.
Damn, I was hoping you was going to be one of the lucky ones.
Oh, but I was lucky because I found out that for some reason the factory just didn't press it on hard enough. And so when I put it back on the peg and I really went, with my, Steve Rogers arms, bam, it knocked right on there and it's fine. Like
you did get lucky then, yeah. Because no matter how many, I heated it up and I tried to press nothing.
Yeah, I saw you had to do the glue thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, now we got questions rolling in. Articulated Ninja, have you seen the dinosaurs made by beasts of the Mesozoic?
Dude, they look really good. Like I don't know much about the company. I'll say that I don't know, but from what I've seen of them, and I'm pretty sure I might be mistaken. I think they're based out of Jersey too, which is literally my backyard. So, but what I've seen of them, it looked really good, and I'm pretty sure it's them. They're also doing a dragon, and the dragon looks bigger than a lot of the other dinosaurs. So if that dragon actually gets made and is this the scale that they're advertising it is, that dragon will most likely be on my channel because I love dinosaurs and dragons and things like that. Oh, a Game of Thrones line too. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
God.
surprised they never did that, quite frankly.
I think McFarlane did, but obviously there were statues. There were more statues than action figures.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Juan says, question, Ninja, are you going to be part of the 3POA crew?
We're all 3POA crew. We're all 3POA crew and family. And that would be dope though to be a part. But then like the show at that point should it be named 4POA? Should it I don't know what Ryan, aka Batman, would have to do to figure all that out. But that would be a dope idea. That would be cool.
Greg asks, any new video games you are looking forward to or enjoying right now?
You know, as soon as Greg asked that question and I heard you reading it, as soon as you said video games, the first thing that came to mind is how good I'm enjoying that Last of Us TV show right now. Oh, okay. It's not a video game, it's a TV show.
Right.
But video games, I think I'm looking forward to the Hogwarts Legacy game. I'm hoping that's good because I've never played a Hogwarts game or any Harry Potter game in my life, but that one actually looks like it might be good. So I hope that's good.
Kofi says, what new vehicles have you found?
Dude, it is so hard to find vehicles. Where now you see my most recent vehicle video, I'm either taking something that's not in scale and trying to make it in scale, but it's so hard to find vehicles, aka Valaverse, aka Ramen Toys, aka we need vehicles. Like it is so hard to find vehicles in the right scale. So I don't have none right now.
Jeff asks, what do you think the most significant change to action figures has been in the last 10 years?
Well, when did Toy Biz? When did the legend start? When was that?
Oh, they started in the 2000s.
Early 2000s. Yeah, so that wasn't 10 years.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say that they changed the game 100% when they did that.
Right. I mean that Hasbro selfie series, right? What am I saying? No, but
you might as well bring up the starting lineup then.
I do think though that by and large, I think face sculpting has gotten really good.
Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, I don't think anything's going to be bigger than that. See, this is why you're retro. This is why, because you just think of shit so fast. And
yeah, because I remember faces that were just 2 lines and another line.
But yeah, I definitely say face sculpt, and Valis spoke on that as well. Like him talking about once they actually started the 3D scanning and how it changed so much. Like, yeah, I definitely say the face sculpts.
Eric asks, Articulated Ninja, any hints for future custom vehicle videos?
You see how big vehicles are on my channel? Like,
yeah,
I'm still looking. Every day I get on Amazon. Every day I get on eBay. Every day I go through I'm like backed up on my DM messages. But every day I check this stuff and I'm still looking for good vehicles. The second that I find one, it will be up on the channel for sure. Because I hate the channels that like show something off, but then they don't say what it is, or they just show it in the background. It's like, oh no, I don't want other people to be happy. I don't want other people to have that. I show everything, man. I go get one as soon as you can. Like,
sure. Evergreen asks, explain a bit about your storage, Articulated Ninja, and how you keep your collection and accessories straight.
I buy little storage bins from Walmart or Target, and I put all my accessories in there. My storage is not as neat as Ryan. Ryan has one of the most neatest, complete collection videos I have ever seen in my life. I mean, the man scrapbooks. So right there, that should let you know what type of human being he is.
Right.
When you talk about being neat, or you talk about, you know, keeping everything in order together, dude, watch. I don't know if you've seen it, but watch Ryan's collection video on the 3POA page. His storage and mine is similar to that, just nowhere near as fine-tuned as his is.
Oh yeah, his is the right kind of OCD is what I would call it. Yeah. Hang Solo says, any suggestions for someone thinking of starting a YouTube channel on toy photography? Well, we talked about this a little earlier, and not to repeat what Ninja said earlier, but he'll correct me if I get it wrong. But you said something about you don't have to go in big on the equipment first. Try and just look at your cell phone's capabilities to see what it has. I think that's what you said.
Yeah, just you try to use your phones because the technology on phones nowadays is so crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, don't go and buy a $500 camera. Just look at your phone and look up on YouTube the best settings, the best lighting. Buy some little cheap lights. I'm using lights. All of my videos, I'm using all of my lights were under $100. And maybe I get 2 or 3 or 4, but buy cheap lights and just mess around at first. Mess around and don't expect anything to be great, because then you're going to kill your own motivation to keep moving forward. Just expect it to be okay. Just expect it's going to take time. You got to give yourself time.
Yep. Are you a SWAT Cats fan?
Yes. That would be a dope toy line too. Like I said, there's so many IPs, there's so many toy lines that I know people would like, but I think maybe the audience is so small or so like cult like it wouldn't warrant for a full mainstream release. You know, a company's going to look at it and be like, oh no, we're not going to make a big enough profit margins, or we're not going to have a big enough audience. But is there an audience for it? Yeah, I'm sure there is.
Jesse asks, are you looking forward to the new giant-sized Triceratops from Mattel?
I'm not sure exactly which one. I don't know if it's the Hammond or the Amber collection. I know they had one, but it really wasn't giant size. I got it because I love dinosaurs. Shout out to Talker Art. You know, he loves his dinosaurs too. But I got it, but it was kind of smaller. But if they are making a bigger one, yeah, 100%. I'll look into that too.
Scott asks, what one toy would you save if your house was on fire? And what's the first toy that we would kick into the fire?
Well, one, because I try to be happy with my collection, I don't really have toys that I would just kick into the fire. Because if I don't like it, I sell it or I just throw it away. Usually sell it, throw it away. And if I've already opened it, assuming it's a good toy, it can also go, like every year I do Toys for Tots. So it can also be donated as well. It doesn't just have to be thrown away. But to save one action figure, I think... So a part of the DCU line, the first expensive action figure I ever purchased, because I couldn't, it just never arrived in store, was the DCU. I don't know if you remember, it was a Wonder Woman variant that was Artemis. So she had the hair, she had the big ponytail.
Yes.
She has a bow. Dude, this Artemis, yeah, I think I might want it to be that, just for all the experiences and the memories that I get from having it. I think it might be that Artemis.
Ninja, are you going to be at Legion's Con?
I went to Legion's Con last year, right? And it was just it was so crowded. It was so cramped. I felt like they could have just set it up so much better than what it was. But I am going to try every year, because Jersey is right there for me. So I'm like, every year I'm going to try to at least go to Legion's Con, even if it's one day. So if you shoot me a message on Instagram or whatever and let me know, like if you want to meet up or talk, or I'm going to try to go every year. I'll try to go to Legion's Con, because you can buy Mythic Legion stuff at the con for a great price, and you don't have to worry about getting charged shipping. You don't have to worry about Big Bad Toy, how they upscale things, and the best prices come from the cons as far as Mythic Legions are concerned.
Yeah, I've heard about the people that show up prepared to buy cases of Mythic Legion.
Yeah. The line starts at like 6 a.m. Sometimes it wraps around the building. Like I've waited, and I didn't think it was that serious, but I showed up and it was that serious. Well, I walked to the front of the line and I asked the guy, I'm like, the doors don't open until 9. What time did you get there? He straight face proudly, oh, I've been here since 5:30. And they'll have like the little chair set up, and I'm like, holy shit.
Wow.
I can't. Yeah, but that Mythic Legions fan base is no joke, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's where Valorverse is getting, to be honest. Valorverse's fan base, and it's getting up there, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's prepping, I know, for this upcoming event. Yeah, the one in June. Chinovo, you guys think small soldier figures?
Oh my god, I wish. Oh my god. That would be so dope. See, there's too many lines, man. I literally reference, I said toy soldiers in the video. Now that I've realized he corrected me, but I referenced small soldiers in my video with the Batman thing. Like that was such an amazing movie. That Indian in a cupboard, that small soldiers was dope.
Yeah. Tony Robles says, other than Tomb Raider, what would be a great gaming figure line? I'm gonna posit Root Beer Tapper out there. I'm kidding. Yeah, I don't know.
What would you say? I don't know.
I mean,
I would say The Last of Us.
The Last of Us?
But of course, that's modern. Exactly. That's modern. Yeah. That's new. I feel like Tony's asking for something maybe a little bit more older, but I don't know.
I mean,
Oh, didn't they make a movie, that Rampage movie? I used to play the
Yeah.
Rampage games when I was younger with the big monsters.
Yep.
The people, imagine them having the person, and then they have a build-a-figure of the monster they turn
Oh,
into.
that'd be cool.
That'd be pretty dope.
That'd be really awesome.
Somebody put Ramen Toy. They put Metal Gear in the chat.
Oh yeah.
Ninja Gaiden, and you guys
Oh,
are coming
Ninja
up with 10
Gaiden.
times better answers than me or him.
Oh, Ninja Gaiden would be good.
Yes,
It would be a sculpting nightmare. They'd never be able to reuse anything, I don't think.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I really have been enjoying the Horizon
Oh
games.
wow, yeah, because especially the animals. I love vehicles and I love animals.
Yeah.
Horizon would be one of those. Yep.
But you talk about pricey. Like that would just be, dude.
Yep.
Laser Pants says it could be a semi-regular thing for POA.
Yo, I'm down. I'm 100. That'd be dope.
Herb asked, any tips on positioning transformers for photos, especially G1, since they don't always have the greatest film?
So I don't do a lot of transformer photography. I do have transformer figures. I think that's that's the Jetfire box right there. So I do have some transformer figures, but I would say, especially in my mind when I'm thinking about shooting a transformer, because there's so many crevices and there's so many like little in corners and there's so much sculpting usually on a transformer figure, definitely make sure you have an overhead light. So let's say your figure is right here where the mic is, guys. Have a light maybe above it, but a few inches away. This way you can get a nice silhouette of behind the figure to show off all those crevices and all those canvases, and then have two lights in front. But I think shooting things like transformers, that's pretty tricky, because unless you're trying to do a dark shot, you have to be able to get in there and show some of that sculpting. And it's so much of it.
Yeah,
so much of it.
Yeah, the Transformers they come with their own set of unique video content creation challenges. Ninja, what toy inspired your name? I think you said Naruto, didn't you?
Yeah, it would be, but just ninjas in general. I just love ninjas. So whether it's Naruto, or if I was younger, if I would have been 5 years old and I would have seen that Ninja Assassin movie, I would have dedicated my life to being an assassin, because that movie would have, I'm sure for children, I'm sure that defined what a ninja is. Dude, that movie is that good.
As chintzy as the movie is now, when I saw Ninja 3 at the age of 11, I was like, I saw him going to town on that golf course. I was like, oh my God.
Imagine if you would have been 11 watching Ninja Assassin.
Oh, I know, right?
You would have dedicated your life to the franchise.
Aren't you going to go to college, dear? No, I'm going to the Iga province of Japan, Mom.
Yep.
I'm going to go. Ninja, what is your all-time favorite movie or TV show?
I think my all-time favorite movie, I would probably have to say, if we're going to keep it comic book or cartoon related, honestly, man, when I was a kid, The Lion King made me think a lot about life. The original, I wasn't a fan of the remake, but the original Lion King movie, it definitely made me think about life in general. That was a really good movie. I liked it. Even if it was a ripoff of Kimba or whatever it was a ripoff from, I thought it was a really good movie for kids to watch. I feel like kids nowadays, they can't, maybe The Lion King would be too harsh for them. Right. You know, him dying, Mufasa falling off of the cliff in slow motion. I feel like that would be not allowed. But
yeah, they had more opportunities to take some risks back then than they do now. Cute Fluff asks, will you ever do Let's Plays for video games, Michael? Yes, I would like to. I'm not smart enough to figure out how to stream them through OBS properly so that I can get my voice and the audio. It has been a comedy of errors trying to figure that out.
I don't know how to do it either.
I would love to do Let's Plays on some of my favorite video games from the past and present. That'd be great. Impossible Pie, does Articulated Ninja collect anything vintage from the 80s?
Necessarily vintage, no, but I do appreciate a lot. So for example, let's say if I was to start collecting 80s stuff, and I don't know if anybody in the chat has seen it, but Valor went through a collection tour of some of his 3-inch figures and just older vintage type of figures. And once again, just like when I watch Retro's Man-Child News, totally inspiring and totally discouraging at the same time, because I said to myself, just like when I seen how neat Ryan was with his collecting, I said to myself, majority of people are never going to have a collection as far as G.I. Joes are concerned. I'm like, they're never going to have a collection as neat and as complete as what Valor has. Right. I'm not even going to try.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
good. I'm not even gonna try.
Vala craps all over all of us with that. Like
Dude,
it's.
and so many people don't know that about him. They don't.
Mhm.
They just think, oh, since he doesn't like Hasbro, he likes to talk shit about classified. That is not the case. Classified figures winded up on his top 10. Dude, when it comes to that smaller scale GI Joe, I look at it and basically it lets me know, okay, this is what I need to try to do with the classified line. Be
Mhm.
that organized, be that complete, be that. But they're making it hard to with some of their quality issues nowadays.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Let's see. Impossible Pie says, "Have you seen the Acid Rain military
Oh
line?"
man, yo, those figures look really nice. They're just not on my scale, but they look awesome. They look
Mhm.
awesome. They're not on my scale, but even the mech suits they have, the Joy Toy mechs and everything,
Mhm.
they look amazing. It's just out of my scale.
Yeah. Are the Lego Indiana Jones toys better than Hasbro? I can answer this. Unfortunately, both sets of toys, Hasbro from 2008 and Lego, both what's been announced and what came out in 2008, are all grossly incomplete. They fill each other's gaps, but they're not compatible. So the only way to get a flying wing is to buy Lego, but the only way to get, say, certain vehicles is to buy the Hasbro, and you just want to pull your hair out and go insane. So there's no satisfying Indiana Jones comprehensive line,
That
unfortunately.
sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ricochet Rick says, "What other dream figures do you want? Films, comics, etc. Shoot, get obscure, whatever. I'll toss out Riccio and Tremors. Thanks and stay gold, articulated ninja. Stay gold."
Thank you. Dream figures, you could go first. I said a lot of
Oh,
them, and in the chat, they were bringing
yeah.
up some amazing dream figures. Mine, I'd say, because I grew up watching Xena and she defined like a
Right.
badass woman for me, I
Yep.
would have to say probably Xena. If I
Yeah.
could get a full line of Xena action figures,
Mm-hmm.
I would die in peace. Yeah.
Yeah, you are to Xena for a full line what I am to the original core design Tomb Raider story mythology. Like,
Right.
if I could
Right.
get the characters from all of those games and all the variants of Lara and everything like that at the same time in good 6-inch articulation with, I
Oh
would
my
be
God. Yeah.
super happy. Like, I would be
Mhm.
super happy.
That, and I think that's why I worked so hard on that Cesare, the girl video,
Mhm,
uh, because those were the closest thing to Xena warrior-like female action figures, whether it's
mhm.
gladiator, Roman, Spartan, African, it doesn't matter. But
Right.
those were the closest thing to Xena action figures that I have seen or gotten up until
Yeah.
this point. So
Well, that's
that's
like,
why I worked so hard. Xena, oh my God.
yeah, well, that's like right now you have to get like a Mafex Conan, and then there's that other company doing Red Sonja, where it's
Yeah.
like, they're I guess scale compatible and they're almost stylistically compatible, but the
Yeah.
license is with two different people. So it's
Right.
like,
And that red Sonja looks nice. I think it's by Loose Collector or something like
yep,
that.
yep,
But dude, those the females he's making looks really, really nice. A lot of them have like the Frazetta style
mhm.
sculpting to them and they look really good.
That Red Sonja has been as tempting to me as the Golden Axe Storm collectibles were.
Yeah, I got it pre-ordered. You know it's gonna show up on my channel, so I can't wait to get that red
Oh, the
Sonja.
Red Sonja? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
they
Yeah.
got one in 6-inch scale. Loose Collector got one coming out.
Yeah. Oh, Loose Collector has what's the Red Sonja scale right now?
I don't know. I
Oh, okay.
But I know Loose Collector does have a 6.5-inch Sonya coming out,
Yeah, that's
and
the one I'm thinking of.
yeah, they've been showing some prototypes, and it should be hitting anytime soon. Because Big Bad Toy Store, it was supposed to be here in December, so literally it should be here anytime soon, and I can't wait to get that up on the channel.
Yeah.
I think they also did like the Witchblade figures, and some of them, like the Demonic Witch,
Mhm.
she looks like she's red, and yeah.
Right. Okay, so let's see. I am not a trader, says Articulated Ninja. When will we see a room tour, if ever?
See, eventually you will, without a doubt. I don't really watching room tours like Ryan's make me feel like I'm not good enough yet. And
Mhm.
then if I gotta watch room tours, so now I watched Retro's room tour, Ryan's room tour, Vala's room tour. I'm like, dude, my stuff doesn't look neat like theirs, or as you see how dark it kind of is. I have light on certain areas, not,
Mhm.
but I like my stuff dark. All my friends call me Dracula, and I just I
But
don't
see,
have stuff.
the thing is, you, Ryan, and Talker, just because of what's in my studio, in
Mhm,
my display room, you
mhm.
guys make my studio kind of look like it's filled with precious moments statues. Whereas you guys, you have all the cool modern stuff, and it's like comprehensively collected, and it's like it makes me look at my vintage collection, and I'm like, how quaint, like, but
Yeah, eventually I will definitely do a room tour though, because even from looking, you can see over here I have Pokemon action figures, and I have a lot, and I try to base everything around 6-inch scale. But having 6-inch scale Pokemon figures too, that would be amazing. I would love that. Pokemon and Digimon, but actually in 6-inch scale, that would be dope.
Eric Alfred Abel says, Ninja, when you shouted out Iron Ken, I knew you were real. Master P bout it bout was the theme in my head when y'all were ranting earlier.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. So let's see. Ninja, what do you think about the company Hiya Toys?
Once again, Hiya Toys, similar to Joy Toy, similar to those, they're just not in my scale. But as far as the detail on them, the detail looks great. It looks amazing. But the price is also pretty steep too for them not to be 6-inch action figures. And I'm sure, there's probably a lot of legal stuff, because I believe Hiya has done Aliens and Predator. And so I'm sure they have licensing fees and all these other things they have to deal with. But since it's not in my scale, just because I don't buy it doesn't mean I can't appreciate the art that's in it. And I definitely see a lot of art, and I appreciate the sculpting that those figures have at that scale. Looks really dope.
Yeah. Lio Convoy, thank you for the super chat. He says, last message before bed. Ninja, did you study Kenjutsu or any other sword art? If so, when we meet, we're sparring. I'll bring the gear.
Bring the gear. If you bring the gear, you'll find out what I studied. That'll be fun.
Let's see. Tony Horton says, "Hey Ninja, if you had an action force figure, what would your code name be?"
Sheesh, man. I after tonight's stream, I might want it to be Rubber Ducky. I might. I don't know. That's a good ass question. I think that would be something that, one, similar to what I heard Retro say before. Like, I feel like the Action Force line is dedicated to a lot of live military personnel, and I don't want to take any light off of them, and I don't want to take any shine off of them for whatever sacrifices they may have had to make, providing the service that they do. But if I did, it would be super amazing, and I would want to put a lot of thought into a code name. Or granted, that's something that Bobby didn't figure out on his own, because if he figured that out on his own, I'll accept it because it's a gift. But if I had to choose it, dude, I'd have another no sleep night, because it would be so important for me to figure out the right thing.
Laser Pants says, Michael, your collection is a museum.
Facts.
Well, then I better be installed in it soon, given how quickly I'm aging. Have you been tempted to get into Hot Toys in the 1/6 scale?
Dude, the detail and the fact that you do get maybe better articulation than you get with McFarlane. It looks amazing. The Hot Toys look amazing. But even if I appreciate the art of a Hot Toys, my wallet would not appreciate me. Because there's so many other things that I get. There's so many, and I try to be so selective now, especially with the times and financially. Nobody has it like that. Nobody has, I don't think anybody in this live chat is living in a $10 million mansion. With that being said, I love Hot Toys. I love the way that they look, and I appreciate them from afar because of that price tag. And they're not in my scale. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do eventually do something in 1/12 scale. But what would the price of it be, and how crazy? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, that'd be scary. My quick answer to this, shoot us, thank you for the super chat, is
that's for you, Retro.
I love Sylvester Stallone, of course, in First Blood being my number one. My number one Arnold 80s movie is Commando, because it's like if First Blood was just on like speed. But yeah, I love both of them. They're both great. Master Son has a super chat. He says, my wife said Michael just insulted Precious. He is mad. You done effed up, Aaron. And articulated Ninja, why you love the thickies so much.
Because I grew up in a time where like every action figure, even if you go back to the Toy Biz Legends, and every action figure was a toothpick. Every action figure had to be, and there was old like 4-inch Xena figures and stuff, and they got to show a lot of skin. It's not like that no more. But for the most part, every single female buck or mold that I've ever seen from a kid, they've always been on really, really, really thin females, and sometimes so thin it's not even realistic.
Yeah,
because I like thin women too, but sometimes the figures, they make them so thin, and they're so flat chested, they're so everything, where I'm like, dude, why is every female represented in this only in this way?
Right.
We even get different forms of male figures and male bodies being represented, but it's like we only get one or two forms of the female body being represented. So that's why I like the Thickie so much.
I made a joke about it in a video I did about the Marvel Legends Eternals, where I was like, why is Salma Hayek's figure practically flat?
Yo.
But like, am I wrong? Like Angelina Jolie's figure suddenly had the biggest bust line of a Marvel Legends in the last 10 years. And I was like, but if you actually watch the movie and look at the real people, Salma Hayek beats her in that department by a nautical mile. So what are they doing at Hasbro? Like,
you have to imagine these guys sit around at a table and they look at a screen and they're like, oh no, that's too much chest. But why? Why is it too much chest? Why is it? I don't understand. It's not even like she's naked and she's fully clothed. Let's say Black Widow, or let's say Emma Frost.
Yeah.
What you're making these characters more different than they're supposed to be represented. Who are you protecting? And then once again, they'll say, well, it's for kids, and it's not though. Kids aren't buying comic books. I couldn't name one 5 to 10-year-old for the most part that knows who Emma Frost is. So why are you making a figure then?
Right.
Why are you? Obviously, and I think that was really disappointing to the HasLab people when they included that female in the Engine of Vengeance, and she couldn't show skin.
Right.
No kids have access to buy this HasLab. This was the place for you guys to get away with it, and they still chose not to do it.
Yep. Yep. Well, everybody, I've realized on my own tonight that we have moderators in place who probably didn't know this was going to go 3 hours. They probably have work tomorrow.
Exactly.
And also, I want to still maintain my promise that this stream ended sooner than the 3 POA stream, even though we're now coming up on the edge of it. So I want to just, from the bottom of my heart, I just want to thank you again for making the time to come on and connect and just tell us about your whole point of view on your content, because it's so unique. It has such a just dynamic point of view, and it's so invaluable to the toy community that it's just a privilege for me to be able to get to talk to you. So
I appreciate you, Michael. Thank you so much for even having me on, giving me the opportunity. Like I said, if you would have asked me when I first made that video of how I viewed the toy community and how I viewed you in the toy community, if you would have asked me then if I was going to be on live with you, I would have laughed. So thank you. I appreciate it so much, man. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And I want to just have a very quick word with you in the back room after the stream ends. So just hold on there for a second. But everybody else, thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you for making this so much fun. And thanks for all your great questions and your great comments and everything. It's always, you guys make the live stream. So if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to do this. And we will see you on the next live stream in the near future. So talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.